to Charm Chats. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Charm Chats with Kendra
and Kat.
Today we are covering episode 406, A Night to Remember.
And that's night with a K.
Yep, it's a homophone.
Yeah. The title is either based on the 1958 movie A Night to Remember without a K, which is a movie about the maiden voyage of the Titanic, or, and the more plausible one here, the 1989 Cyndi Lauper song A Night to Remember, because that song is about a breakup where the heartbroken protagonist reminisces about a romantic affair with a departed lover.
There's also a Shadazy song. Okay, so Shadazy.
I love Shadazy.
I like this and Shania Twain were pretty much the only country I was into as a kid.
Mm-hmm. Their Christmas album is quite fun.
Yeah, they had a song called Night to Remember, and I used to reenact it with my Beanie Babies.
That's amazing.
Mostly the cats, because it was about how like the protagonist finds out that her husband of so many years has been cheating on her. And so they're going to have, like, a really romantic night out where she's going to let him know. And it talks about, like, the lipstick she puts on, like, the dress that she wore some time ago that he'll remember. And she drives him off a cliff.
Nice.
So, yeah, I used to reenact that on top of my bunk beds.
Nice.
Where I would...
knock the Beanie Babies off.
No, I would drive the Beanie Babies off.
Well.
And let them fall to the floor.
Nice.
It was good.
Nice.
Really. There's also a song that I'm pretty sure was not literally supposed to be about multiple personalities, but it was pretty much about multiple personalities. It's like number 5. Like she numbered all of them. It was cool. I think I still have that album somewhere.
I haven't listened to Shadazy in a while, but now I'm totally going to open that in Spotify and just start listening to that.
There was also some Christian rock girl group that I only listened to because their name had Zoe in it. I think that wasn't the entire title of their group or whatever, but Zoe would have been my name, and I was very attached to it as a child. So when I found my cousin had this album, I was like, great, can I have this? And she's like, yeah, sure.
Nice.
But yeah, Night to Remember.
Well, there you go. This episode aired on November 1st, 2001. It is not a Halloween episode.
1/1/01.
Yes.
We start the episode on an exaggerated constellation in the sky that shows a belt, crown, and sword very clearly.
Yeah, it is not a real constellation that I'm aware of.
It's not.
Though
I think they might have
feels
based
like...
it off of Orion.
Yeah.
And then just added a bunch of very bright stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was definitely like somebody was like, oh, look, Orion's belt. That's made up of 3 stars. I wonder, maybe we could make one that's like 20 stars. That'll be cool.
Yeah, like, I can't identify constellations because they're so fucking abstract. Like, if you look up at Ursa Major, like the Big Dipper, calling it the Big Dipper makes a hell of a lot more sense than Ursa Major. Like, how did anyone get a bear from that?
Yeah, I don't know. The only
The dolphin I get.
The only constellation I can ever find in the sky is Orion's belt.
Yeah. That would make sense. It looks like person.
But it doesn't to me. All I see is the belt. I just see 3 stars in a row and I go, oh, that must be Orion's belt. That's literally it.
Well, yeah, but if it's clear enough out, you can see the shoulders and that's about it.
We live in the suburbs. It's rarely clear enough.
No. Like, it's usually clear enough to see the shoulders. But, like, if you're not familiar with where they are, it's hard to find them.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can definitely see the belt. I can never see the fucking sword. I know there is one. I assume he has legs.
I don't know.
But I can never fucking see that. So yeah, they were like, oh, we can't trust the audience to be able to clearly tell that this is a knight.
Yeah.
So we'll just add some shit.
Yeah,
Creative license with the cosmos, right?
The best part
I mean, they
about
already
it,
added magic, so yeah.
Well, yeah. But the best part about it is the fact that it's not just the belt and the sword, but there's also a crown that, like, my brain was just like, is it supposed to be Lady Liberty? Because that's what that crown looks like.
I was getting the dude from The Producers dressed as the Chrysler Building. Side note, Mary Chrysler.
Mary Chrysler.
Happy Cribman.
Merry Crisis.
Yes. I love quoting that to people.
Yes, but this will be out in February?
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, so we come into Paige's apartment. Paige and a guy we will learn is named Glenn is laying on a bed, naked, with candles near their feet, staring at a window at the stars. And because the Project for Awesome, it literally, the first time I wrote his name was Glenn, I put 4 N's. And I was like, wait, no, sorry.
Too bad there's no one in this episode named Dale.
I know, right?
I can't wait for my Dale plushie.
I can't wait for my Glenn plushie.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Fucking loyalist.
No, it was because you got one, so I got the other.
Yeah, but everyone was getting Glenn. I felt so bad for Dale.
I know.
Plus, he has Shrek ears.
I know.
That's cuter.
Yeah. But like I said, you got the one, so I got the other. I didn't get the visor, though.
No, neither did I.
Even though Glenn started with the visor.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, but he became king of the Glen.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't go back to the visor.
And Dale rules over the Dale.
Yeah.
Well, was it Glenn is king of Glendale?
Yeah.
But no, Dale rules the Dale. Glenn gets the Glen. Fuck off.
Yes. If you don't know what we're talking about, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're sheep, guys.
Yeah.
They're stuffed
sheep.
Well, they're actually originally mannequin sheep.
Yeah, they were originally creepy as fuck mannequin sheep. And now they are cute stuffed animals. And by the time this podcast comes out, we will
probably have them.
Yeah, probably have our things.
So remind us and we'll post photos.
Yeah.
My favorite was when Hank on the live stream was like, oh, let me just go get Dale. And then just drops Glenn below and just switches the hat.
Yep.
This is totally a different sheep.
Yep. It's amazing. Anyway. Glenn, with 1 N, is played by Jesse Woodrow, who's born in 1976 in Washington State. He has 30 acting credits so far, starting back in 1998. And he's mostly done single episodes of TV shows and parts in short films, but we'll see him again once more later this season and once again next season. That's it. He gets 3 episodes as Glenn.
It's more than most of her beaux.
Yeah.
Anyway, Paige is telling Glenn a story about an evil enchantress, a prince, and a beautiful maiden. And right away, Glenn is like, I hate the enchantress. And Paige is like, oh, I don't know. I kind of identified with her. And he's like, as I was saying, I love the enchantress.
Yeah. It was kind of funny.
It was a cute moment because he's like, you obviously know I didn't say that.
Mm-hmm. Paige continues her story, pointing to the constellation in the sky, saying that the enchantress took it as a sign that her powers were at their darkest, because remember, evil enchantress.
Mm-hmm.
So she locked away the maiden and cast a spell on the prince, and she starts to say the spell, because Paige.
Uh-huh.
Bring together my prince and me, let him fall on bended knee, I summon...
And then she forgets the rest of it.
I summon... Fuck.
Uh-huh.
Without, of course, the fuck, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, me trying to remember all of the one thing I remember Stephen Fry saying about a poem being written in a lavatory wall.
Okay.
To the god of poops. Well, the goddess of poops, actually. It was a really cute poem. But I think about it every now and then, and I'm just like, I'd get artwork of that.
Well, alrighty then.
I have Facebook subgroups I could post that to.
Anyway,
Glenn guesses at the end, says that the prince defeats the enchantress, marries the maiden, and ends happily. And Paige is like, actually, the enchantress has a son, kills the prince, and rules the kingdom forever.
Glenn asks what kind of fairy tale that is, and Paige says that it's the one that stayed with her as long as she can remember. And I immediately thought of the Brothers Grimm and Hans Christian Andersen, because the original versions of their fairy tales are very much not the Disney versions of those fairy tales.
Well, also, their versions are not the original versions. They just stole a bunch of folk tales.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But they got famous for it.
I've read, not an archaeological... I've read a sort of reconstruction of the original Beauty and the Beast myth as it was before. Mm-hmm. Grimm got their little grimmy myths on it.
Yeah.
Or someone researched and found like all the original myths. It was actually a really sweet story. Yeah, a lot more. They clearly had an opinion about women.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For those who might not have a clue, the Brothers Grimm are German. They did stories like Cinderella, The Frog Prince, Hansel and Gretel, Rapunzel, Rumpelstiltskin, Sleeping Beauty, and Snow White.
Also, the Juniper Tree.
Those are the most famous ones. And Hans Christian Andersen is Danish. He did stories like Emperor's New Clothes, Little Mermaid, Snow Queen, Ugly Duckling, Little Match Girl, and Thumbelina.
And he was full of gay drama.
Yeah. Little Match Girl is actually one of my favorite stories, and it's not one that's done very often.
No, it's not, but it's still, like, pretty well remembered, and it doesn't get messed with too much.
Yeah.
Unlike all of the other ones, really.
Yeah.
Like Snow Queen, we got Frozen out of that.
We did.
And I like Frozen, but, like, Snow Queen's much more interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Snow Queen was also part of Narnia.
Oh, yeah.
But we're not going to go there right now. Glenn and Paige start kissing, and the camera pans away, and we get an insert shot of a book of fairy tales, and then, in one of the best transition shots we've ever had on this show, the picture on the cover of the book becomes the scene we are in.
This is a classic. Classic sort of transition shot. And I won't say that they're easy to do, because they're really not, but they are really easy to I'm forgetting the term. They're really easy to come up with the picture based on what you have already filmed.
Right.
So
it's easy to make a starting shot.
Yes.
From a scene you already have.
And I will say the photo they put on the front of this book, which the book itself does not look all that booky.
No.
But
the book looks fake.
Well, yeah, the book looks fake, but the photo they put on the front of it wasn't just like some shitty posterized Photoshop version of the scene they filmed. I don't know who worked on the design of this, but it was good.
Yeah.
Because it looked like it had at really least been illustrated instead of just, oh, you know, I just messed with the contrast and the saturation.
Yeah, no.
And like the black point and all that shit.
Yeah, no, it looked like it was drawn. Mm-hmm. And they did a really,
I feel like
really
they might have
job.
done this a lot on Wishbone.
Possibly.
I feel like that.
Yeah.
Like
the
kind of show this happens in a lot are the ones where they have to go into fairy tales often, like Wishbone.
Yeah, but this particular thing made me think of the Thursday Next series by Jasper Fforde.
Oh yeah,
because like you're going into a book and you're changing things and you're making things happen, and it's just Don't mind me. I just really love the Thursday Next series.
I know.
I love Jasper Fforde, and I think more people should know about him, and that's Ford with 2 Fs.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
we find ourselves... Yes. We find ourselves inside what appears to be a medieval castle.
A guard who gets no IMDb credit pushes a woman who we will learn is named Lady Julia into a room. Lady Julia is played by Bethany Joy Lenz. She's credited as Joy Lenz, and it was Joy spelled Joie.
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 As in de vive.
She was born in 1981 in Hollywood, Florida. Gotta put that in there.
Sorry, my brain went straight to Avenue Q. Which is not even an actual direct reference because they don't reference Hollywood, Florida. They reference Celebration, Florida.
Well, there you go.
Oh, brain.
She has 33 acting credits so far, starting back in 1992. Her first big gig was 46 episodes on the soap opera Guiding Light, but most people will probably know her from her 188 episode run as Haley James Scott on the show One Tree Hill.
I did.
She was also on a few...
I didn't even watch One Tree Hill.
I never watched it, so I had no idea. But she was on a few episodes of Dexter, which is actually where I recognized her from.
She was in 2 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And when I saw that, I was like, wait, really? I don't remember her at all. And this would have been like when I was watching it on the regular. So I went, and I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, that was not a good ending for that character. I'm like, 2 episodes is weird. 1 episode I would expect, and that would be harder to track down. But 2 episodes? 2 episodes has, like, some vague significance. Yeah, she gets turned into dust. Not like Avengers style. More like, I don't know,
Bible.
fucking drained.
like Bible
Yeah.
style. She turns into a pillar of salt.
Well,
Not exactly,
Not
but
quite. Just gets, like, deconstituted.
yeah.
It's a very sad moment.
Yeah. Anyway, so Lady Julia, who I am totally going to call LJ.
And my brain is going to provide the initialism of LiveJournal.
There
for
you
that.
go.
So
Yep.
I will expect some odd censorship rules from LJ.
She is in a historically inaccurate blue dress.
Oh, so historically inaccurate, but so pretty.
It was a super pretty dress.
Nice and flowy.
But let me tell you, the fabric is quilted, low cut with white buttons at the boobs, a small collar, and sheer billowing sleeves that are tied at the elbow with ribbon. There's also a small rope around her as a belt just under the buttons, so just under her boobs. Her hair is down and wavy.
Like, on the verge of wavy and curly.
Yeah.
It's like in there.
It's like if someone has curly hair and they brushed out the curl. So it's that like
No, it's not quite that. It's more like if they have very wavy hair and then they, like, blow dry it with the diffuser.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I can see
Yeah,
that.
because if you brush it out, it just becomes a cloud. A definitionless cloud.
True.
I know this because I used spike curls a lot as a child. Thanks, Irish dancing.
Spite curls.
Spike. Oh yeah, I'm very spiteful about it, actually.
I heard it as spite curls, and I was like, I could totally see that being a thing.
Yeah, I was super happy when I got a fucking wig and didn't have to do that shit anymore.
Nice. Yeah. Anyway.
LJ is very annoyed that she's been summoned. Gardibo leaves. And we see the evil enchantress standing in front of a dark window. I had slight ever after flashbacks. And she's in silhouette. We can't see her face.
However, as soon as she talks, even with the slight deepening that they've given her
I
voice...
don't think that was done in post.
No.
No, I think that was just Rose.
That was
doing
just
that.
Rose. Yeah.
We can immediately tell.
We immediately know
played
that
by
it's
Rose
her.
McGowan.
Yeah. Because of course it is, because this is her story.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I like the fact that she gave it a slight deeper, like,
Yeah, there was
timbre.
only one moment where I felt like it sounded just like Paige, and it's like right at the end of the episode. After, spoiler alert, she has been defeated, because y'all know where this is going.
Right.
But like she says like, "What have you done?" I'm like, "Oh, that sounded just like Paige right there."
Yeah.
But I mean, she's trying to act upset, so like it can't be like super deep. But
Well,
it was a good vocal effect, and
Yeah.
it was very sultry.
Yeah. I like that because it's this, like, evil enchantress that she's put on this even darker, deep voice. And, like, I enjoyed that little bit of character work.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, she's by no means a supremely talented voice actress, but she did a good job with this.
She did. She very, very much did.
Uh-huh.
So the enchantress says something about the stars. LJ says the enchantress doesn't frighten her, and that she and her prince will marry the next day, and that she can't change the fact that he loves her and not the enchantress.
And she's just like, her whole affect is just like, girl, we've been through this before. You're fucking useless. Like, come on. Just, I'm tired. Aren't you tired?
Yeah.
And then the enchantress is like, bitch, I got dark magic.
Yeah. She says that dark magic can change it. She holds her hands out, and smoke and a gust of wind blows LJ into a wall.
Yeah, she kind of does this, like, finger twinkle.
Yeah.
Is what I'm calling that?
Yeah, it was like
It was
horizontal jazz hands.
no, that's spirit fingers. Jazz hands are
spirit
jazz
fingers.
hands are where you pivot at the wrist.
Yes, spirit fingers. You're right. Horizontal spirit fingers.
Yeah, horizontal finger. Well, they're not quite spirit fingers. They're like very slight spirit fingers.
Yeah.
Like it's like if you were trying to do a puppet show, or like really ineffectually play the piano very quietly. Finger twinkles.
Yeah,
They're not sparkles. They're twinkles.
Yeah, they're little shaky fingers.
And the the smoke effect is really hilarious to me.
Yeah, it's like she summons the wind.
It is that she summons the wind.
But it's like she summons the wind, and there's smoke being added to the wind, so you can tell it's wind.
Yes. Because how else?
Yeah.
Because you need atmospheric disturbance to be able to tell that the air is moving.
Yeah. So LJ hits a wall, and a portcullis of metal and wood drops down in front of her, locking her in.
It's really hilarious to me, too, because, like, she gets blown into a wall. A curved wall, mind you, but a wall. Like, It's a large open room they're in. This portcullis essentially closes off, like, a half-moon section of this fucking room.
Yeah.
Like, she just summoned it from the ether. Like, excuse me, this is your side of the house. Go there.
Yeah, a portcullis is basically just a heavy gate that closes vertically, and it's seen in a lot of medieval fortresses. Mm-hmm. But, like, I think it's hilariously funny because the way that it comes down, you can tell it's CG'd in as it comes down, and then it's a practical effect once you're in the close-up.
Could we? It didn't look all that CG to me.
It looked a bit CG to me.
They might have edited some stuff. They might have lightened it, but it looked fairly practical, and it wouldn't be that hard to do if it's going to be practical later. They just have to make sure that everyone is behind their lines.
Yeah.
For, like, on their marks and shit.
It might not have been CG. It just kind of looked a little CG to me, but whatever. The point is I just think it's very funny that as you said, it's like she walks into this room. And the whole point of a portcullis is that there are holes in the ground where the spikes from the portcullis go into.
Yeah. We see the spikes. We never see the floor.
We never see the floor.
Which is fair, because it wouldn't be stone. They probably didn't build the floor.
Right.
In this room.
Right. But my point is that you'd think, if you're Lady Julia, little LJ, if you walk in and you see that there are holes in the ground in a straight line, maybe don't go in that direction. Like, I understand
she got blown.
I understand she got blown in against the wall and whatever.
And not in the good way.
But, like, there are just a couple of times.
Well, okay, first of all, her hair is down, which means she was sleeping. It's nighttime. She's tired. In universe, I can definitely forgive this. Like, easy.
I guess so.
This is not the weirdest fucking shit.
No, it's not.
The fact that she completely underestimates the Enchantress is a little more ridiculous to me, because I'm like,
yeah,
honey, why are you letting this woman just, like, live in your fucking castle? Like, why?
Yeah, there's a lot of this story
What's
that we
the deal?
aren't
Like,
told.
I mean, we get why the witch in Prince of Thieves was in there, because we had fucking Alan Rickman running the show, so, of course he was gonna do that shit.
Yeah.
And, Men in Tights, we had that lady, so...
Yeah. There's just a lot of
you
things
usually
that
have the evil enchantress
told,
in the castle,
when
someone evil is running the show. Why are we keeping her around? I mean, she looks damn fine.
She does. Speaking of, LJ asks why the Enchantress is doing this, and the Enchantress walks into the light and replies that it is her destiny. And we can see that she's in a slightly, and I mean slightly, more accurate green dress. It's a band of green satin over her chest with a green satin skirt and green velvet sleeves with gold trim. And this is why I say
they're like not swallowtail sleeves, but like
they're very long.
Yeah, long bell pointed.
But they're cut bell sleeves so that her arms can come out of them, and it's very detailed on the inside. And that's why I say it's slightly more accurate because
and it's a lovely The velvet is a lovely, forest green. Mm-hmm. And it looks really good on Rose.
Yeah, it looks really, really nice on her.
Because she's extremely fucking pale.
Yeah. It looks really good.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like a typical, evil person color. Because, usually you get, you get your reds, you get your, poisony lime greens. Mm-hmm. You get your black, obviously. I'm struggling to think of any other colors. But those are, 3 of them.
Yeah.
And, green isn't always associated... Well, this shade of green isn't always associated with being evil. It's just, hey, it's pretty.
Yeah. And the reason that I say that this is slightly more accurate than LJ's dress is because LJ's dress was very much a low cut. You could see, between her boobs.
Yeah, she was there to be pretty.
Right. And
Enchantress was there to be pretty and evil.
Yeah. And her dress is her dress is a straight across cut.
Yeah.
And that's a much more correct style.
True, but also Lady Julia had just come from bed, so that's probably like part of her sleeping attire.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like it's like it's like part of her house coat.
Yeah. Anyway, her hair is down, long, and slightly wavy, and she's wearing earrings that look like some sort of animal tooth.
Or just like teeny little daggers.
Yeah,
they were very cute.
They were slightly curved and pointed.
They were very cute. I like them.
And she's wearing a necklace that is in green and silver on her head.
So then it's not a necklace.
It's absolutely a necklace. She's just wearing it on her head.
I get that it's supposed to be a necklace, but there's a different term for thing you wear on head. It's a headpiece.
Yes.
Of some varietal.
Yes.
My friend who makes headpieces for ballets probably knows.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Diadem?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I know it's not a tiara.
No. And I think a diadem is actually a subset of tiara.
Yeah.
So probably not a diadem. But either way.
Anyway, we go to the opening credits. We find that there is no Daryl or Cole this episode, but Daryl will be on the phone somewhere in the middle of the episode, though we don't actually hear his voice.
No. So Daryl is in fact mentioned.
Yeah.
But not present.
Correct. The opening song on Netflix is Into Pieces by a band called Hungry Lucy. Now, according to the wiki, Hungry Lucy was a dark wave trip-hop duo with a female vocalist.
I like those descriptors.
Yeah, I will, of course, link to both darkwave and trip-hop for anyone who wants to know more about what those genres are, but they're basically just experimental versions of other genres.
Mm-hmm. That tracks.
Yeah.
Also, it did not fit aesthetically.
It kind of did if you listen to the words.
No, the lyrics fit.
Yeah,
but
the lyrics
the
fit.
Song
Yeah.
as a whole, I was just like, this is very jarring. Like, I couldn't fucking remember what the actual song was on the DVDs. But this didn't really work for me.
Yeah, the lyrics match, but the style did not. The band Hungry Lucy the duo Hungry Lucy consists of Krista Bell, and yes, that's her name, and Warren Harrison. They were active between 1998 and 2014, and the band was named after a woman named Lucy Ryan, who apparently died in 1792. I will link to their wiki so you can read more about that if you'd like.
Sure.
It's some sort of, ghost story, something or other. Anyway, we come back from opening credits, and we get our standard transition shots, where we get one of the Triangle building, which I'm very excited. Still happening. Triangle building. Woohoo. Before we end on the manor. We see Piper in black pants and a black sleeveless shirt that has a white turtleneck collar. It was odd, but not bad. Her hair is pulled back into a ponytail with a large white hair wrap with the buttons showing.
And she's got two little tendrils coming out front.
Yep. She walks into Prue's room, which, if we didn't recognize it by how it looks the exact same as it did last season, we'd know because we see Prue's leather jacket and the gold necklace with her name on it on the bed.
That she never wore.
Yeah. There's also a watch and some other jewelry, but it's not shown clearly. And Piper's walking around the room and staring at the thing and looking contemplative.
And then she puts on the leather jacket, which I thought was nice symbolically.
It was, and it looked good on her. I think
really
that's the best part in all of this is that the sisters are enough, or well, I guess the actresses are enough close in body shape that if they wear each other's clothes, it doesn't look bad. You know?
Yeah.
Like, not everybody can do that. Like, I can't wear your clothes. You could technically wear mine.
And I've worn that sweater.
Yeah, you've worn my Doctor Who sweater. But like, that I think is the biggest thing. Is like, not all friend groups, not all family groups. Like, you can't always wear the same clothes. But
and I'm pretty sure that's part of
you can, and it's
why Hollywood hates casting fat people so much, because especially fat women, because they want to be able to draw from existing wardrobe for a lot of shit, and if they have to find new clothing, that's an expense.
Yeah. Fuck them.
I know.
Anyway, so she eventually puts on Prue's leather jacket. She walks out of the room and closes the door behind her, staring lovingly into the room as she goes.
And then we time jump to the kitchen, where we start off on a shot of Piper stirring instant coffee into a cup that says God bless. We, of course, know it says God bless America.
It was God bless M. God bless...
What?
Like, God bless AM.
Oh.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
God bless M.
M.
And so, yeah, God bless M, I guess would be.
Yes. Because if you're saying God bless M, I'm like, oh, it starts with M. No.
So yeah, so it's God bless Am, and so you can tell that it's God Bless America, which makes sense because this aired November 1st, 2001, so this was probably filmed right after September 11th.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it makes sense logically.
Yeah, I was surprised how fast the episode turnaround is for the reboot. Because, like, I was there, they were filming parts of episode 12. They had episode 13 on the schedule. Episode 10 is set to come out January 20th. Like, that's pretty fucking fast.
Yes.
I was thinking they'd be at least at, like, episode 14 by now.
I was going to say, well, reminding you that this episode will come out way later.
I know, but, like,
when did you
timeline.
go on that?
Oh, I was there December 18th.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So,
like, less than a month. Now, granted, they don't have a huge amount of, like, special effects shit to do, but there is stuff they have to do in post.
yeah.
So, that's fun.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they're always working on multiple episodes at once.
Of course.
But yeah,
And if
fast
you'd like
turnaround.
to hear our thoughts on the reboot, that would be a Patreon exclusive. Just saying. Anyway, so Phoebe comes in. She's wearing white pants with a drawstring waist and double line down the side in like black, as well as an orange long sleeve collared zip up crop top.
It is very cropped, and this is accentuated by the fact that our pants are extremely low-waisted.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this was the... I'm like, how does she have this much abs on this tiny, tiny woman?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Alyssa Milano is not tall.
Mm-mm.
There's a lot of abs there. And I was expecting the shirt to actually be shorter based on how much ab there was. But no, it was actually several inches below the boobs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, several.
Yeah, it was about halfway down her stomach.
No, halfway down the rib cage, I would say.
It was above her belly button, but...
Well, yeah. But, like, there was still so much ab.
Yeah.
So much ab.
Yeah. Well, you know, when you
It's like those
when you get paid
those
to work
bad
out...
anime anatomy drawings where someone's got, like, a 12-pack. That was kind of what I was thinking of when I was watching this. I'm like, what is this, like, TARDIS abs going on?
Yeah, well, you know, you get paid to work out.
Uh-huh.
Anyway,
Yeah.
the top has some sort of logo on the back and the arms, but I couldn't tell what it was because her hair was down and covering it, so I couldn't see. And her hair is down and wet, which is
Different.
different.
Also, instant coffee is different.
Yes.
She immediately comes into the kitchen to complain that she looks like a drowned rat. She needs her blow dryer, she tells Piper. And Piper's like, bitch, I'm working with instant coffee here. Like, this is our life right now.
Yeah. She says, I love it. Piper tells her to pretend she's camping, and Phoebe's like, I hate camping. And Piper's like, yeah, I hate drinking instant coffee, but I'm still doing it. And
I believe it was either Folgers or Sanka brand. Based on the the jar that I saw.
Based on the jar, I'm assuming it was Sanka, and I used to drink that stuff all the time.
I have some downstairs. I used it to make some cupcakes for work.
Hey, you know, instant coffee isn't bad. It's
Cupcakes,
just not
which unfortunately
good.
I cannot give you because they have berry jam in there, and I'm pretty sure there's raspberries. So sorry.
That's okay. But I just love that Piper says she's making instant coffee, but you know she hates instant coffee, but she's drinking it anyway. And she takes a sip, and the look of disgust on her face was just so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I loved it.
This is why Holly is my favorite, because she just makes these faces, and you're just like, oh, I know what happened right then. Yeah. Anyway,
Phoebe's like, you know, we're living medieval without electricity here.
Yeah.
Theme of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Piper quips that they're conserving energy.
Phoebe says they need to figure out when the shocker demon is going to attack them.
What a shocker.
Yeah. So we now know that they're dealing without electricity because there's a demon after them that comes through the electricity.
But only when they turn it on.
Yeah, only when they actively use it, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Which is an interesting thought. Because, like, he can jump current and shit, but only if you connect the circuit.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Piper reminds Phoebe that they need the power of 3 to vanquish him, and Paige lives across town. Methinks this episode will end with Paige moving into the manor.
Spoiler alert, it does.
Yeah.
So
I do think it's fun, though, that it lasted until episode 6.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought she was going to move in by, like, episode 4. So
yeah, they didn't really mention it until this episode.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, obviously I know this is coming because I remember it, but also, like, this is a thing that needs to happen for the girls. And we had some of this mirrors a bit of the discussion that happened when Piper and Leo wanted to move out.
Yep.
In an interesting way, because now Piper's on the complete opposite side of this issue.
Yeah.
And it wasn't exactly a callback, but it felt emotionally like a callback, which was nice.
Yeah, they did a really good job.
All of the like sister emotional stuff in this episode is really good.
Yeah.
I really love this episode.
Yeah. It's a really good episode. Phoebe walks over to the phone to call Paige. Piper tries to warn her not to use the cordless phone, but it's too late. Phoebe drops the phone as the shocker demon escapes.
Because presumably she pressed a button.
Yeah. Well, she picked it up, which put a dial tone, which meant it was connected.
Yeah, but like the phone is still going to be on.
Right, but she picked
Which means
it
the
up.
phone... Yeah, it's still funny to me because, like, even if you don't pick the phone up, the phone's gonna be plugged into the wall, which means it's getting power, which means it's not turned off.
Correct.
So technically, Shocker Demon could have come through there at any fucking time.
That's right. But he didn't. He waited until she picked up the phone.
I know, because he's a bitch who lives for the drama.
Yep. The Shocker Demon is made of electricity in the shape of a person.
In the very rough shape of a person.
Yeah. It jumps on a table and throws electricity near them, blowing up a wall shelf that was holding coffee mugs and a bit of the wall.
Yeah, a bit of the beadboard behind it. I
Yeah.
think we've also seen this hold spices before.
Probably.
Yeah. Anyway, he throws more electricity, this time hitting Piper and Phoebe, and they go flying. Piper goes through the swinging door to the kitchen.
There's no door.
There's a door. We see a door frame in there. We see the push thingy of the door. We see her crash through something, I swear.
You are correct.
It got swung shut by the explosion of the coffee mugs.
You are correct. Though it...
And that door has always been there.
But it's always been open.
Not always. Sometimes they'll use it for comedic effect of swinging shut and then coming back open.
Yeah. But so what happens is the door swings shut when the wall gets blasted. And then when Piper goes flying through it, she breaks it so completely
that all you see is the like outer panel which you push to open it, because it's a two-way door.
Right. And so I didn't even notice that it had happened because it broke so completely.
And also you were focusing on Phoebe because she goes flying through the little like hutchy counter thing.
Yeah, the little half-wall shelf thing that holds the phone.
Yeah.
She completely breaks that, which
we get to see the paper liner inside of it, which is fun.
It was cute. So I'm totally calling that furniture, which brings our FAQ, our furniture annihilation quotient, up to 4 for the season and 53 for the series.
Yep. I told you it would be a good idea to put this in there.
Oh yeah, totally.
Piper gets up and tries to use her power. We're not quite sure if she's trying to use freeze or blow up. But I'm pretty sure she was going for blow up because the sound effect went more that direction than the freezy.
Yeah.
Because I think the freeze effect is done by like doing some sound backwards, so it stops instead of like getting bigger. I don't know. That's just my instinct.
That could be.
But anyway, she affects him and he goes out through the outlet where the toaster's plugged in.
Yep. Electrical outlets. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Piper then kneels beside Phoebe, asking if she's okay. And Phoebe's like, no, not okay. We have to call Paige and set up a time for her to come over.
Piper's like, honey, we can't schedule vanquishes. Demon attacks don't usually fit into the day planner.
Phoebe asks what she suggests, and Piper says that they should probably ask Paige to move in with them.
Yeah, and then she
Called
goes...
it.
Yep. And then she goes and she sits at the table. And Phoebe's like, what? I was not expecting this from you, of all people.
Yeah. Phoebe joins her at the table, and Piper's like, it was going to happen sooner or later, But I just love the fact that Phoebe is shocked that Piper is the one that was, like, bringing it up.
Well, yeah, because, you know, Piper has been the one who has been the most affected by the loss of Prue
Right.
and the addition of Paige. We had that whole episode where she literally turned into a fury over it.
Yeah.
And Piper's just like, you know, I'm trying to be practical. And then she just drops in the fact that Leo's been watching over her, over Paige day and night, and Piper hasn't seen her husband in a while.
Yeah. Phoebe asks if they're really ready for it, but Piper reminds her that every demon who wants to impress the source is trying to kill them, so they're really vulnerable without Paige at the house. And Phoebe's like, no, I didn't mean as witches, I meant as sisters.
Yeah. And Phoebe's like,
what happens if we don't get along?
Yeah, and Piper says, well, we didn't always get along with Prue. And Phoebe's like, well, we grew up with her. We had to get along eventually. And I'm like, no, you didn't.
No, you really didn't.
But, you know, the stakes were high enough that you worked it out. So,
Exactly.
like, marriages don't always have to end in divorce. But sometimes if people don't want to work shit out, it does. And that's fine.
And also the difference between Prue and Paige is, yes, you grew up with Prue, so you know all of her bullshit.
Yeah.
You know all of her little quirks and things because you grew up with them. So while you didn't necessarily have to get along eventually, you could at least be like, well, that's just Prue. We just have to deal with it.
Yeah, I got dirt on her.
Yeah. With
Don't have dirt
you
on
have
Paige.
no idea. Anyway. Phoebe says that she still feels like Prue could walk in the door at any moment, and she isn't sure if it's not too soon. And Piper's like, well,
only one way to find out.
yeah. We cut to a very loud alarm clock going off, and we jump to Paige's apartment, where Paige and Glenn are still in bed. He is wearing blue plaid boxers, and she's covered in the bedsheet, because that's how you do things in Hollywood.
And for some reason, it feels like this bed is now on the complete other side of the apartment from where it was before.
Uh-huh.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, she says she's screwed because it's 9 a.m. already.
Which makes me wonder why she'd set an alarm for 9 a.m. if she needed to be up earlier. Just saying.
Yep. Yeah, Glenn asks if she can't be a little late, and she's like, I already am. She's like, okay, be a lot late.
Yeah. He says that he's leaving the next day, and she, like, says that he's always leaving the next day.
It's what you do.
Yeah. She sits up and wraps herself in the sheet, and I immediately was like, why? Why is this a thing in Hollywood? Like, nobody... Like, I understand... Because they can't just have her laying there topless because, you know, whatever.
Well, I mean, she probably is... I mean, that's the easiest way to do that, is to be topless.
Yeah, but, like, she then gets up completely still wrapped in the sheet and scoots her way to the bathroom.
Well, I mean, pros of this, you don't have to show, if she's not topless, what she's wearing under it. Like, she's probably wearing pants. And you don't have to show that then.
Well, not necessarily.
She might be wearing, like, shorts or something.
Maybe, but...
She might be wearing other costume pieces that she will reveal in a second. But, like, you don't have to show the rest of her body. You can really get that past the people who...
The censors.
The censors.
Mm-hmm.
They have a two-part name. I forget what it is right now. And it keeps the whole, like, oh, she's naked thing.
I guess.
It's a convenient shorthand for
It's just weird.
a lot of things that works out for filming.
I guess.
It is weird, yes. But also, y'all, like, you see this so much in Hollywood that you start doing it and you're like, this is fun. But also, like, it's only fun if you don't tuck in your sheets at the bottom of your bed.
Yeah.
Because then you can't walk around with them.
Well, and it only works if you have a bed that you use with a flat sheet. Like, I don't sleep with a flat sheet. So
I sometimes do. Mostly in winter because convenient layer.
Yeah.
But it does get twisted a lot.
I rarely sleep with a blanket. So
Yeah, I can't do that. I need weight.
nah.
Yeah, you and Colin are weird like that. He literally, like, the blanket that's on his bed, that's what he sleeps under. He never fucking sleeps under the comforter. And I'm just like, then why do you have a comforter? He fully makes the bed every day.
It looks pretty. He's all about the aesthetic, and you know
I
it.
know, but he puts extra sheets under the comforter for no goddamn reason. He doesn't need them. He washes them. He never touches them. Like, do you understand how weird that makes me feel?
I don't, but, you know.
It's so extraneous.
Yeah.
Like, what? I don't understand the point of having things on your bed that you don't use, which is why mostly I don't work with a top sheet, because it just gets tangled down by my feet anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I need the fitted sheet because that covers the fucking mattress.
Right. I have a fitted sheet.
And technically you can get around that by just using a couple of flat sheets.
Well, technically.
Well, I mean, like, if I could probably get a king-sized flat sheet and that would work, because then you don't have to deal with folding a fitted sheet ever again, because guess what? You can't fucking fold a fitted sheet.
Well,
Don't.
there.
It is nigh impossible. It is arcane knowledge. It is fucking arcane knowledge, and my brain will not allow me to learn it at this point in time, so don't contradict me. It is impossible for me to fold a fitted sheet.
Hey, I will concede that you cannot fold a fitted sheet because you concede the fact that I cannot read an analog clock. So it's okay.
That's fair. We all have our hang-ups.
We have our things.
This is like when I tried to learn how to knit. And I was just like staring at all these tutorials and watching people do it, and I'm like, what is this fucking magic?
No.
What is happening here? And then I found out I was already doing it. And then my brain's like, oh, well, okay. Now I can get it from watching.
Yep. There you go. Anyway, Paige sees Glenn staring at her and questions why he's staring at her.
He's like, girl, you're not good for a 9-to-5 job. You need adventure. You can't be pinned down. And I kind of saw, it looked like I saw in Rose's head going, pinned down, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, oh yeah, you know me so well, dropping by between K2 and the Great Barrier Reef.
Now, K2, I had to look it up because I knew it was a mountain, but I didn't know exactly what it was. K2 is actually the second highest mountain in the world after Mount Everest, and it's located on the border between China and Pakistan. It's sometimes called Savage Mountain due to the extreme difficulty of ascent, and it is more difficult and hazardous to reach the peak from the Chinese side, so it's usually climbed from the Pakistani side. It has never... Hi, Blue. It has never been climbed in winter.
Yep.
Because deadly.
Mm-hmm.
The Great Barrier Reef is the world's largest coral reef system, and it is located in the Coral Sea off the coast of Queensland, Australia. It can be seen from outer space and is the world's biggest single structure made by living organisms.
Structure seems like the wrong word for that, you know?
But it isn't.
Well,
It's all connected,
mean,
so it's
I
a
know,
structure.
it's just the human association with structure. Like, it's a formation, for sure.
Anyway.
Yeah, Paige walks into the bathroom. She doesn't close the door fully. And Glenn's like, your life could be a fairy tale and not end badly.
She pokes her head around the door and asks why it would end badly.
And he's like...
I thought was very funny.
Yeah. He's like, come to Australia with me.
She says she's got too many responsibilities.
And he's like, girl, you're 25 years old. You got the rest of your life for that kind of crap.
Now, here's my thing. I'm fairly certain that we find her birth date at some point, and she would actually only be 24 at this point.
Yeah, but, you know...
I'm just saying.
It's an estimate.
Yeah. I'm not going to call this as a continuity thing. I'm just mentioning.
Yeah, like, you round up to the nearest 5.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes in my
Unless
head...
you're me, and therefore I am 38. I am not 40 yet, goddammit.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain milestones where you want to wait. But sometimes in my head, I referred to myself as a 30-year-old or a near 30-year-old. Mm-hmm. Even though I'm only 28. So.
I'm near 40. I'm okay with saying I'm near 40. Mm-hmm. It's very funny. I love the fact that I'm 10 years older than you because it makes me think of the girls from My Favorite Murder, Georgia and Karen, because they're 10 years apart. Mm-hmm. And I'm fairly certain they're 10 years apart, and they're 10 years apart, 10 years older than us. So, well, or 10 years older than me, I guess, because one of them is my age and the other is 10 years older than her.
Yeah.
And it just makes me laugh.
They're us in 10 years.
Yeah. And it makes me smile.
Uh-huh.
Anyway.
Anyway, Paige walks out of the bathroom and she's wearing a little red and black plaid wrap mini skirt that she is fastening and a pink bra.
Yeah, and I absolutely, believe it or not, had that skirt.
Mm-hmm. I believe it.
I owned that skirt. I think I might actually still possibly have it in a closet somewhere.
Mm-hmm. I feel
had...
like they sold that at Hot Topic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I had the plaid mini. I had the pinstripe mini. I used to wear those. Like, I am not a dress person. I've never been a dress person, but I used to wear the plaid mini skirt and the pinstripe mini skirt with like knee-high boots and fishnet stockings and like just a black bra with a fishnet like overlay top and my hair up in pigtails because I used to be like the emo goth kid.
Yeah.
Like that. It was my style for quite a while. This is back when I dyed my hair black.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm actually in a friend of mine when he got married. I'm actually in his wedding pictures because I was accidentally the maid of honor. It was her sister was supposed to be the maid of honor, but her flight got canceled and she couldn't actually make it in for the wedding. And so she needed someone to stand in for maid of honor. And I was the only one of his friends who had ever been in a wedding before. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I've been maid of honor 3 times before. I've been in like 9 weddings. I know what I'm doing. If you just like, I'm like, I won't look good in your pictures, i.e. what I am wearing right now. But like, if you want, I can do this for you.
I can fulfill that function.
Yeah. And so I did.
I can fulfill that function at this junction.
Yep. With my goth aesthetic in their beautiful wedding. It was very funny. Yes. It was very, very funny.
At the two of yours conjunction.
Yes. Anyway. Paige says that while it sounds tempting, she really does have responsibilities. And then she grabs a pink shirt and sits on the bed to put it on. It is a long-sleeved, low-cut, made of ribbed material, and has ruffles on the neck and the wrists.
Like a lot of ruffles. Oh, more ruffles
than shirt. Like, almost.
There's a lot of ruffles around the neck, and it kind of like leads down the front a little bit.
Yeah.
And the sleeves are slightly less ruffled, but that's just because they put less material on that. But yeah, so many ruffles.
So many ruffles.
Like an 18th century French nobleman would be like, I would wear that. There's that many ruffles.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's like, oh yeah, I have sisters now, and we have stuff to do. That kind of keeps me pinned down.
He comes closer and asks if that's a good thing or a bad thing, and she says she's not sure yet, and then they kiss.
And we cut outside into the hall to see Piper and Phoebe coming down it very quickly, heading toward Paige's door.
Piper is in the same outfit as before, but Phoebe is now in a floor-length dark denim jacket with studs on the collar, which, I'm going to be honest, I would totally have worn back in the day, over a white shirt with some sort of button detail and something on the collar, which we will see in more detail later, with light-colored pants was all I could see at this juncture. I will, of course, describe later when we see it later. Her hair is pulled up into 2 buns on the top of her head. Cute little fun buns.
Yeah. And just as Phoebe is about to knock, Leo orbs in front of her fist.
Yeah, and she knocks on his chest. It was really funny.
And then she gets kind of startled, and she's like, oh, hi, Leo.
Yeah. He is in a white t-shirt under a brown plaid overshirt and dark pants.
Phoebe apologizes for knocking on him, and he says, what's up? So Piper's like, hey, wifey here, do I get a kiss?
And he kisses her on the cheek.
Yeah.
Which...
very perfunctory.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
Well, he was being a little weird, so I accept it.
Yeah, this entire scene is just a little awkward because he's acting a little awkward. And
he says hi, gives kiss, and then says, okay, bye.
Yeah.
And they're both like, dude, what the fuck? We just got here. And he's like, oh, I don't want to leave Paige unprotected, so bye. And Piper's like, oh, she's home then? He's like, yeah, she's a bit, and he starts doing hand motions like, indisposed. And I legit had like a flashback to Fifth Element, because there's the bit where the scientist is like doing this thing with his hands that's meant to replicate kissing, and he's like, oh, we can't wake them in the tube.
Yeah. Yes, that was a good moment.
Yeah.
I love The Fifth Element.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good movie.
Good fucking movie.
Yeah. Anyway, I do love the fact that indisposed is a way of, like, she's got a boy over.
He could just say, like, she's got a guest.
Yeah. Piper questions him and asks him if he's a peeping angel, which is a play on Peeping Tom, which is a nickname for a male voyeur. Mm-hmm. It's basically a guy who secretly watches someone else. Yep. So, a little bit.
Yeah, Leo's like, oh, I didn't see anything. Piper calls him on, and he's like, I only saw a little, but, I'm just trying to protect her. Like, how am I supposed to know what's going on?
And then we have a cute little moment where Phoebe looks back and forth between Piper and Leo with this, like, confused look on her face.
Yeah.
With this, like, what is happening right now kind of look on her face. It was great.
And then we cut inside to where Paige and Glenn are making out on the bed, and Paige now has her top off again.
Yeah. Phoebe barges in, covering her eyes, apologizing for interrupting and saying she can't see anything. And it reminded me of her
in the bathroom.
Leo and Piper in the shower.
So yeah, this is pretty much a direct callback to that episode where Piper and Leo were going to move out.
Yep.
Piper runs in after Phoebe. Leo follows, and then Paige kind of sits up and balls her shirt up in front of her to cover her boobs.
Yeah.
Instead of just putting it back on.
Yeah, and I love that she doesn't use the cushion from the bed or the blanket from the bed. She uses her shirt. Mm-hmm. It just made me laugh. I don't know why. Anyway,
Paige asks them what the fuck is going on, and Phoebe's like, "Oh, this looks bad, but it is very important." And then she sees Glenn and says, "Whoa,
yeah,
it was really cute." Piper smacks her on the arm, which was even cuter. Glenn's like, "Oh, who are you?" And Paige says, "Oh, they're my soon-to-be ex-sisters that she told him about." Phoebe smiles and waves, and Piper's like, "Oh, sorry, we don't know which way to turn, if you know what I mean."
Yeah.
It was
a lovely telegraphed moment.
Yeah.
It was cute. Glenn sits up saying that he should go. Leo awkwardly tosses him his pants.
And no one notices that Leo knew exactly
where they were.
The pants would be.
Mm-hmm. Glenn thanks him and puts them on. Paige apologizes for the embarrassment, and he says that it's not a problem and she obviously has responsibilities.
Yeah.
Like she told you twice.
And the way he says responsibilities makes it kind of sound like a parasite.
Yeah, a little bit. You obviously have fleas. I mean, responsibility.
Responsibilities.
Yeah. He reminds her that his plane leaves the next day, then kisses her on the cheek and walks into the bathroom. Piper's like, plane? What plane? And Paige ignores that completely, and she's like, this better be important. And Phoebe replies that she can't even use her blowdryer.
Which is very Phoebe.
Piper asks if she's been attacked by the shocker demon. She doesn't even lower her voice, even though Glenn is just in the next room.
Uh-huh.
Leo says that she hasn't. Paige asks how he knows that. And Phoebe's like,
very joyfully just says, "Oh yeah, he's been watching you for the last week or so. For your own protection."
Of course, Paige is rightfully creeped out by this and orders everyone to get out. She gets up and gets them out the door. Piper and Phoebe saying that they need to talk about the shocker demon because they can't vanquish him without the power of 3. But, you're not at the manor, so...
Yeah, Paige slams the door shut on them in the hallway.
And Phoebe in the hall is like, I think that went fairly well on one side of the door. And Paige on the other side is like, unbelievable. While she's shaking her head on the other side of the door. It was a really cute moment. Mm-hmm. In that, like, I think that went well. Fuck them.
Yeah. Yeah. We cut and we find ourselves back in the medieval castle. We see a dude in very slightly ornate brown clothes. Like there's a tunic situation going on.
Yeah.
It's got like some nice red accents.
And there's an amulet of some kind that was like, it had a little blue stone on it and what looked to be like a Roman Catholic cross. Like it was one of those like short plus sign kind of crosses. Mm-hmm. And then he's got all of that underneath what is, I think, supposed to be chainmail, but just looked like gray fabric sewn to look like chainmail.
You know what it was? In the close-ups I saw, it was silver yarn.
Yeah.
It was steel gray, slightly metallic yarn that was knitted
to look like
stockinette stitch, which is the one where you don't just like knit it, you like switch every other row, and you like, okay, knit one row, purl one row, so that on one side you get like these braids traveling down, and on the other side you get these nice like tight loops. So yeah, that's what that was. And that's honestly like one of the better ways to telegraph that this is chainmail, because to the untrained eye, it just looks like, yeah, sure, it's like a metal analog, whatever. It looks metally, but if you look closer, you're like, shit, that's yarn.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like bad costume yarn.
Yeah.
Chainmail. It looks pretty good. But, you know, they don't want to give them actual fucking chainmail.
Yeah.
Even if it's made out of pop tabs. Which you can do.
Yes, you can.
It looks rad.
It looks really cool. Anyway.
This is our prince.
Yes. He is played by Charlie Weber. He was born in 1978 in Jefferson City, Missouri. He has 30 acting credits so far, starting back in 2000. And just before this episode of Charmed, like this episode aired in November, and the just before this last episode was aired in, I think, May of the same year. He played Ben on Buffy for 14 episodes.
To remember who Ben was. Was he one of the...
Ben was... Remember when they had Glory?
Oh, yeah, okay. I knew he was a major dude. I just couldn't, like, my brain wasn't... I'm like, was he at the college?
He was the Ben Glory.
Yeah.
He was the Ben half of Ben and Glory.
Yes.
So many people will know him from that. But if you are more up to date on your shows, you will recognize him as Frank Delfino from How to Get Away with Murder.
And I did.
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh, this guy looks vaguely familiar, so I go on IMDb and I'm like, oh, he was on Buffy? I don't remember that at all. Oh, How to Get Away with Murder. Oh, fucking duh.
Yeah. Legit, he came on the screen, I was like, Frank? Oh my god.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like, we've got two secondary actors in this episode who are very well known from other shows at around this time and later.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting.
Yeah.
Because normally you'll get someone like Mrs. Howard Epps. I can only refer to her as her name on Bones. From your least favorite episode ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, from The Wedding from Hell. Where, like, she'll have minor but memorable things on other shows, but otherwise it'll be a one-off.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't usually get extremely well-known actor who was well-known at the time doing a bit part.
Correct.
It's very interesting to me.
Yep. Now, speaking of interesting things, according to his IMDb, he got married in April 2015 to a woman named Giselle. However... No.
No, I'm kidding.
However, it also says that he has filed for divorce, and he has been dating his How to Get Away with Murder co-star, Paris Geller from Gilmore Girls, Liza Weil. Thank you. I know I was going to say it wrong. Liza Weil, since 2016. So he has been dating her since he's been married. She, however, has been married since 2006. She filed for divorce in March of 2016, and it was finalized in November of 2017. So something tells me she filed for divorce once she started dating him.
Complicated relationships.
Mm-hmm. The reason that I find this so funny is because on his IMDb, two of his personal quotes, which have no date on them, are, "I'm not going to say that a very young Charlie Weber is without his indiscretions. But not anymore. I'm way past those days." And, "I'd like to think I'm a good guy as I've gotten older."
All guys like to think that they're good guys, which is why guys are not allowed to define what makes a guy good.
Yep. Anyway.
The prince is standing in front of the enchantress. She is now in a lovely white satin dress that's like supposed to be some kind of nightgown.
Yep.
It basically just mirrors her green dress but without sleeves.
Correct.
And it's got like this nice lace detailing under the bust.
Yep.
Anyway, he asks where his beloved is, and she's like, "Oh, you're not talking about me? I'm crushed."
Yeah. He draws his sword and points it at her and says that her dark magic doesn't scare him and that he'll spare her life if she tells him where his beloved is.
She's like, "Oh, sure, yeah." Puts her finger on the very tip of the sword and just pushes it away. She's like, "Your beloved is right here." And then walks towards him and throws this cute little, like, leather drawstring bag down at his feet, like, tiny, like jewelry pouch size.
Yeah.
Tiny. And we get a little flash of smoke.
And some sparks.
And some sparkies and some sparkles.
And then she speaks the spell that Paige was having trouble remembering before in its entirety. Bring together my prince and me, let him fall on bended knee. I summon him to my side, that he may take me to be his destined bride. It's a little wordy there at the end.
A little wordy, but effective.
Yeah.
Because the smoke from the pouchy travels up, and suddenly he is transformed, and he goes on bended knee. He starts calling her my love.
And kissing her hand. And then he stands up and walks behind her and kisses her neck, saying he's hers forever.
She's like, so's your kingdom, baby, soon as I conceive an heir. And I'm like, girl, wait till birth.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta.
Yeah.
Y'all don't have genetic testing. Amniocentesis is not a thing in your era.
And, multiple infant deaths is also a thing.
Uh-huh.
Just saying.
I mean, I get she's an enchantress. She can do shit to, like, make sure the baby lives. But, like, that's not exactly her area of expertise.
Yeah.
So she gonna need a midwife.
Yes.
A doula.
A doula. Oh, I got it. Oh, no. Sorry. That's a different thing entirely.
Not medulla. Her doula.
Yes. Anyway.
Yeah, they walk over the bed and
lay down.
He lays her down, and this is where you know his chainmail is yarn because
it makes no sound at all.
It makes zero sound, and he's lying on top of her with it.
Yeah.
We cut to the manor where Paige is knocking on the door in a very fun rhythm.
Yeah.
And Piper goes to open it, tells her to calm down.
Paige walks in saying, "At least I knocked."
Mm-hmm. She's got the same skirt and shirt combo happening, but now she's got black tights on under the skirt. And some tall, shiny red boots, and her hair is braided kind of loosely in some pigtails.
Yeah. She also has a small brown purse, which she throws onto the table by the door as she walks past the living room.
Yeah. Phoebe comes in from the living room, says hi.
And we can now see that her pants are actually a light gray with white and blue vertical stripes. And her shirt is a long white gauze type of material over a white cami top.
Yeah, it's like an asymmetrical hem.
Yeah. It's sheer on the overshirt. It is sleeveless, and it has a bit of fabric attached at the upper left chest as a decoration piece with like a little button and some little like...
Yeah, a little goldy button.
Pearl...
Yeah. Some kind of brooch.
Things. Yeah, it was odd. It's one of those tops that's like a little hard to describe, but I think I got most of it.
At least it's not hard to describe because it's baffling. It's just
hard to describe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and all of the edges are unfinished. Mm-hmm. Which is also like...
Yeah, it's like a weird like knit. Like loosely knit top. But like woven knit type thing. Like machine knit.
Not like, machine knit.
Not like grandma knit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paige is like, oh, I'm not here to talk to you. I just need the Book of Shadows. And she starts making her way up the stairs.
Phoebe says that they apologized. Paige blows them off and starts heading up the stairs.
At which point, Piper's like, hey, want to move in with us?
And that makes Paige stop in her tracks. Piper and Phoebe explain that they're tired of being attacked by demons and not being able to do anything about it because they're not together, and that living together makes them the strongest. Paige thinks they're out of their minds. And then she storms off up the stairs. Piper comments that people usually storm out of the house when they're angry.
True.
Which was cute.
We cut over to the attic where Paige is flipping through the Book of Shadows. We hear a bit of a chime sound happening as she does, and then Piper and Phoebe walk in.
Phoebe wonders why she's not even considering moving in.
Paige is like, girl, you barged into my locked apartment from across town. How easy would it be to interrupt me when I live here?
Yeah. She goes back to angrily flipping pages. Piper asks her to stop looking in the book for a moment, and Paige is like, it's my book too. And Piper's like, if you lived here, you could look at it all the time.
And Paige finally accepts that they need to talk to her and looks up.
She says that she understands why they're asking, but that she doesn't want being a witch to take over her life.
Phoebe reminds her they didn't have a choice. She doesn't either. But that she also freaked out in the beginning.
Paige reminds them that they're the ones who told her to try to keep her life separate from magic. Piper's like, yeah, it doesn't always work out that way. And Paige is like, well, it might if I don't live here.
And she goes back to flipping pages. Phoebe's like, oh, yeah, sweet, we already found the spell for the Shocker Demon. Paige is like, that's not what I'm looking for.
Piper tells her that she might not want to share a bathroom, but the book concerns them all, so, share motherfucker.
And Phoebe takes the softer approach and walks up and puts her arm around Paige. She's like, honey, we could probably help you find whatever you're looking for.
Yeah.
So Paige tells them about the horrible little fairy tale she invented as a kid that always seemed really real to her. And she thought, maybe, like with the other things being a witch involves, this might actually have a witchy origin. And
Right.
she flips one more page and then stops like mid-sentence.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my god, this is it. And we see a page in the book called The Evil Enchantress.
There is no picture, but the book has written that the evil enchantress is a witch who came to the craft late but learned to use it quickly. She was gifted with the power to conjure the elements and was also skilled at creating potent potions to achieve her goals. Defiant, clever, and independent, she was by far the most powerful witch of the 12th century. So now we know that our medieval castle is in the 1100s.
Yeah, which makes it much less period accurate.
Yeah,
Clothing, at least.
Clothing-wise.
Well, I
that
don't know.
is
The princess,
technically the
the
Middle
princess
Ages.
might work out.
The princess is the closest.
Uh-huh. Yeah, probably. But it's also the blandest.
Yes.
Anyway, how this is in the book is kind of unknown. Like, we don't know how anyone knew about this, especially since Melinda Warren wasn't born until
Much
the 16th
much later.
or the 17th century.
Yeah. And Patty wouldn't have known about Paige's childhood story unless, and here's my headcanon, the chime sound that we hear at the very beginning of the scene when she's flipping the pages was either Grams or Patty writing it into the book at that moment. That's just my headcanon.
See, I feel like,
But it's literally the only thing that makes sense. Because there's no reason that this should be in the book otherwise.
Yeah, because, like, Paige's dad, what was his face?
Sam.
He might have been watching over Paige when she was a kid and stuff, but, like, he wouldn't be talking to Patty, or Penny.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have been talking to Grams, like, at all.
No. Anyway, like I said, it's just my headcanon. But like...
Yeah.
It was the only thing that made sense was that it was
it's
being
just
written at that point.
It's just a la convenience.
It really, really is.
Although this would make the first time that anything had been written in the book while it wasn't turned to that page.
True. But,
Uh-huh.
why not, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, anyway, Paige tells them this is the evil witch who, of course, kills the prince after he gets her pregnant. And Piper's like, oh, of course.
Mm-hmm. And then, as Piper comes to stand next to Paige, Paige sees that the spell to call a lover to oneself is written on the next page of the book.
Which is a very inaccurate title, frankly.
It is.
Anyway, she instantly starts to say the spell, and despite... Well, okay, so Piper and Phoebe...
barely try to stop her.
Ineffectually, like, wave their hands around and go, ah... But, like, they don't, like, clap a hand over her mouth or anything. They don't really make any effort to stop her from saying it.
Yeah, exactly.
So she finishes it, goes, oh my god, I finally got to finish it.
Yeah. We cut to the castle, where the prince seems to be taking his clothes off.
Actually, it looked like he was taking off a belt, because his hands were below screen.
Well,
No, I mean, like, this is just how I was looking at it. Like, he's kind of, like, upright, probably on his knees, and just the movement of his arms looked like he was undoing a belt buckle to me.
probably.
I just found it kind of funny.
Yeah.
Because the movement was very reminiscent of, like, jean belt buckle, not tunic belt buckle.
Well, it's kind of the same
I know.
style. So.
I know, but that would have been high. It just looked a little funny to me because it was very modern movement.
Yeah. What I think is interesting, though, is for a moment I thought he was putting his clothes back on, but that would not work time-wise.
No.
He was about to be taking them off.
Yeah.
We see the enchantress lying on the bed, and then a gust of wind blows around the prince. He disappears, and the enchantress cries out, "No!"
Weird that she'd be into missionary.
I don't know.
Like, Enchantress strikes me as a top.
Well, I mean, she's laying on the bed waiting for him to take his clothes off, so, you know.
Yeah, but like, that's a woman who knows how to control her life. She'd be a top. Yeah. She'd be taking off the clothes.
Yeah. Anyway, we cut back to the attic as a gust of wind blows and the prince appears.
He looks around, sees Paige, kneels down and calls her my love.
We get a lovely push-in on Paige's face and the look of confusion upon it before we go to commercial break.
Like, doesn't come in until the last second or two of the push-in, which I thought was very nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, we come back, and Paige, running into the kitchen, has the prince right behind her, and they're followed by Piper and Phoebe. He's like, why are you running? Why are you running? What's that vine?
Yeah.
Where the woman's screaming and the guy gets out of his car and he's like, why are you running? Why are you running?
I don't know.
It reminded me of that.
All right. He asks why she's running. She asks why he's chasing her. And he says they're meant to conceive an heir.
And the faces that Piper and Phoebe are putting on at this point are great. Like, Phoebe's kind of biting a lip. She's like, oh, I'm going to watch this. And Piper's just like really enjoying and savoring the moment.
Yeah. Phoebe asks if they want some privacy. Paige is like, this isn't funny. And then she calls for a plate.
It orbs into her hands, and she smashes it over the prince's head and kind of goes down on his knee. And she's immediately apologetic, like, oh, I'm sorry, did I hurt you?
He says she could never hurt him, and then he starts to kiss her hand. Paige asks Piper to, quote, do that thing you do.
Piper is worried about blowing him up, and Paige is like, risk it. He's using his
tongue. And Piper freezes him. And I just thought that was hilariously funny, that apparently she doesn't like her hand being licked.
It's weird to be using tongue on the hand.
Yeah, it was a little funny. I enjoyed it. Like at
the very least, you gotta,
weird.
like the back of the hand is not all that sensitive.
No.
Like, compared to the wrist. Like, you turn that shit around, go for the wrist, baby.
Paige pulls her hand away, wipes it on her top, and says that she's happy that chivalry is dead.
Phoebe says he must be under a spell. Paige is like, yeah, the evil enchantress cast a love spell on him.
Piper asks why he's lusting after Paige.
Paige is like, search me, I don't know.
And Piper has my favorite line so far. Because it's your damn fairy tale and it's alive and frozen in our kitchen.
True.
Like, how am I supposed to know? Look at what's happening right now. That's why.
Yes.
You did this.
Paige walks out of the kitchen with Piper and Phoebe following, saying she can't handle this, and she heads for the front door.
Piper tells her she can't just leave, and Paige is like, yeah, I can. I don't live here.
Mm-hmm.
Phoebe tells her that she can't keep running away, as Paige grabs her purse and opens the front door.
Phoebe tells her that being a witch is not a part-time job. Paige is like, I need to leave now or I won't have a full-time job, and she leaves. And as she's walking out the door, Piper yells out after her with a finger pointing, the charmed ones come first.
Paige completely ignores her, and Phoebe is like...
Paige is already out of frame.
Yeah, she's completely gone. And Phoebe questions, like, the charmed ones come first?
And Piper loses all of her confidence. She goes, it always worked when Prue said it.
Yeah, it was cute.
Yeah.
I loved that moment.
Yeah, we cut to the living room where we get a close-up shot of the TV playing some sort of home show where it's talking about granite countertops.
Mm-hmm.
And the VCR is recording.
Piper and Phoebe come into the room, Piper wondering who set the VCR to record, as a VHS tape is ejected and the shocker demon escapes out of the VCR. Now, I don't know about you, but when I had a VCR and I asked my mother to confirm my memory on this, it didn't turn the TV on when it recorded. The VCR would turn itself on, but the TV stayed off because the visual output is hooked into the back of the VCR. So the only reason that they put the TV on here is for all convenience of them being able to notice that the VCR is recording.
Yes, exactly.
Because there's no other reason.
Exactly.
Just putting that out there.
But hey, granite countertops have been a thing a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah, it does make me smile, though, that somebody set the VCR to record a home show. Like, that just made me laugh, and I was like...
I mean,
okay.
I get it. You always want to look inside other people's homes. It's always why I wanted to be invited on, like, sleepovers and birthday parties. I just wanted to see inside people's homes. I don't want to steal shit. I just want to know floor layouts.
I just want to know how other people live.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally get that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Piper uses her power, blows up the TV, and the shocker demon makes its way across the floor and appears behind them.
It throws some electricity at Piper, which throws her over the couch and into a bookshelf, breaking it.
That brings our FAQ up to 5 for the season and 54 for the series.
Phoebe does her levitating thing and kicks the shocker, but it grabs onto her leg, and she does, like, Alyssa does, like, a shaky thing where, like,
the wiggle.
She does a leg wiggle, which wiggles her entire body, and it's a little funny.
Yeah, because the shocker demon is apparently electrocuting her.
Yeah. Piper gets up and somehow, like, circles around the wall and grabs a coat stand and just pushes him off of her with it. Which, like, good on her for using something that insulates electrical energy.
Yep,
because wood is not a conductor.
that is correct. Phoebe falls to the floor. Piper uses her power and the demon escapes through yet another electrical outlet.
And then she helps Phoebe up and tells her that they need to convince Paige to move in with them before there's nobody left to move in with.
Phoebe says that she just knows they need a new TV.
And then the girls remember the prince and go running into the kitchen. He is nowhere to be seen. And they wonder if he went back to Fairy Tale Land before Piper walks into the laundry room and she's like, nope, back door wide open.
Yeah.
Does not even bother to close it.
Yeah, she says that he probably went after Paige, and then Phoebe grabs a bottle of water out of the fridge. Why is she using the fridge? Who knows? Because maybe...
Shocker demon.
Yeah, maybe because the demon escaped, and so it takes, like, a few moments where they can use electrical things before it comes back, because there's no reason.
There's no reason they should be using a fridge.
Exactly.
It should be like you're in a power outage. You just tape that shit shut.
Yeah.
So you don't fucking open it.
Yeah.
We used to
that
do
was
that.
literally, like, the only thing that I had in this.
Yeah, we used to do that when I was growing up. And, like, power outage, okay, break out the packaging tape. Tape the fridge and freezer extra shut. Yeah. So that nothing gets out.
Yeah. But that was
not even our demons. Literally.
But that was my only question. I'm like, why? Why did she grab a bottle of water from the fridge? As soon as she opened the door, the demon should have come back.
She's got to have something to do.
But, like, as soon as she opened the door, the demon should have come back. So unless there's some sort of, like, time frame where, like, the first 30 seconds after he goes through the electrical outlet, he doesn't come back.
I don't know. It was just something for Alyssa to do in that moment.
It was an a la convenience continuity error.
Yeah. Phoebe realizes he's wearing chainmail, and Piper's like, it's San Francisco. No one will notice.
Phoebe says that eventually someone will notice, and the trail will lead back to them.
Piper tells her, oh, you know what, just try scrying for a minute. If it doesn't work, I'll get Leo or Paige back here, and hope the prince will show back up.
Phoebe wonders if they shouldn't try a different way to get Paige to move in, since, you know, it might be too soon for her, too. In a rare bit of Phoebe not having a premonition, but knowing how her sister might feel about this whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We cut to the prince.
To my most favorite and least favorite scene.
It's pretty corny. We cut to the prince standing in front of a garbage truck. An orange garbage truck.
He draws his sword and starts attacking the truck. And the driver gets out. Our driver is played by Frank Krim.
Mm-hmm.
He was born in 1962 in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And he has 62 acting credits so far since 1996. He's mostly done single episodes of TV shows.
And I should note that it kind of sounds like the sound of the sword connecting with the garbage truck is done in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be, but it kind of sounds like it is. But the truck is showing no damage.
No.
None at this point.
None
the driver gets out, calls the prince a moron, and he has a baseball bat.
Yeah.
That he pulls out with him.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, leave. I don't have time for this shit. And he kind of like holds up the bat to like threaten him a little bit. And so the prince, now with this sword that couldn't damage the paint job on a garbage truck, just cleanly slices that bat in half.
Yeah. Driver drops the bat, and the prince points the sword at the man's neck.
Like, pushes him up against the garbage truck.
And asks him how he harnessed the power of this metallic beast.
And I had little flashbacks to Enchanted.
Mm-hmm.
But this is, of course, not a bus full of people that he thinks have been eaten by the beast. And no one is breaking into song, which is, frankly, a point... not really a point out of its face. Honestly, it's a disadvantage. They could use some song. It'd be funnier.
It'd be interesting if this was a musical episode.
Yeah, but not everyone can sing in this show. And they didn't do a musical episode on Buffy until after David Boreanaz left because, as is noted in Angel, he cannot fucking sing.
Yeah.
And I like that was a plot point in Angel.
Yep.
But yeah.
And now I have Mandy in my head. Thanks.
You're welcome.
The prince tells him...
The prince decides that it doesn't matter how this fucking beast works.
Yeah.
Garbage Man will use it to take him to his beloved where he can, quote-unquote, feel her heart's pull.
Yeah. We jump back to the medieval castle, where LJ is still locked up in her blue dress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Enchantress is back in the green dress, making a potion.
Yep, with the necklace on her head again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and LJ asks why the Enchantress thinks the prince will return if good magic rescued him. And the Enchantress, she's got this cute little, like, wiggly athame thing. That Chris knife, I believe it's called.
Yeah, it's a Chris dagger.
Chris dagger. Love those. They're cute as fuck.
Yep.
She's like, no, I don't think he'll come back, which is why I'm going to follow him. So I'm making a potion.
Yeah, I'm going to destroy the good magic that intervened, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, LJ's like, why do you think you can do this? And the Enchantress raises the portcullis and has a pretty cute little, like, couple-line monologue where she's like, oh, I'm petty, evil, vindictive. Most of all, I'm determined. Yeah. And she kind of presses the dagger into LJ's skin.
LJ, of course, reminds the Enchantress that she is the object of the prince's true love, so killing her would break the spell.
And I like that she knows this, even though she's clearly not magical.
Yep. The Enchantress is like, oh, I'm aware. And then she uses the dagger to cut off a piece of LJ's hair, saying that she needs the hair to make the potion work.
And this was clearly an extension that was just clipped in.
Yeah. She walks back over to the cauldron, and the portcullis drops back down.
LJ's like, you can't do this. And Enchantress is like, the one thing you need to know about me is that no one fucking tells me what to do.
She drops the hair into the potion, it explodes, and then we cut over to the exterior of South Bay Social Services. This time we get a woman in white pants walking into the building.
Inside, Paige and Leo are in the copy room, and Paige is telling Leo that no one tells her what to do.
Yeah.
And she's still mad at him for watching over her. She's doing this while, like, taking copies out of the copier and, like, sorting them into
she's
a
doing her
folder.
job.
Yeah.
You know. He reminds her that he's a guardian and, you know, it's what he do. Especially in times when it's dangerous for her to be alone. And I immediately had that meme of, it's dangerous to go alone, take this, and holding up the kitten.
And I had the meme of, move, I'm gay, because copy machine.
I don't know that one.
Being gay in the workplace is really nice. And then the dude just, like, shoves someone aside from the printer. He's like, move, I'm gay. I'll show it to you. I have a lot of vines to show you, I guess.
Apparently so.
Or memes in general.
Yeah.
Anyway, Paige is like, it's a fairy tale, not a horror movie.
And he's like, I was talking about the Shocker Demon? She says that the prince coming after her is scarier. Leo says it means that there's even more reason for her to move into the manor.
Paige asks what happens if she wants to climb a mountain or dive the Great Barrier Reef. And Leo's just like, what?
Yeah. She's like, don't worry about it. You know, I like the spells and the potions, and I'm even getting used to orbing, but I think I've had enough of being a witch.
He's like, there's no enough.
Yeah.
Like, you need to stop running from it. So she gives us a quick rehash of all of the shit she's been through in the last 5 episodes.
Uh-huh.
And then asks why she'd want to have the rest of her life be that way.
Leo reminds her that she's not alone anymore and that she has sisters now. And Paige says that the sisters are pressuring her to move in with them for all the wrong reasons.
And, of course, Leo is confused.
She tries to blow him off. But she says that, you know, she feels like they want her to be the super witch that Prue was, but she just doesn't know how.
Leo tries to say that he's sure they don't think that way, but Paige tells him to check out Prue's room because it's basically a shrine. And then there's a weird ADR line, and she doesn't think they're really ready for her, and asks for more time. She leaves, says she'll call if she needs him.
Then we cut back to the manor in the living room, where Phoebe is sitting on the couch, scrying, which brings our scrying tally up to 3 for the season and 8 for the series.
They're not in the living room. They're across from the stairs.
They were on a couch.
They were on the couch in the foyer.
The couch. Sure.
Or in the sitting room or something. I don't know.
They were on the couch with the little coffee table.
Yeah, but the backdrop is the stairs.
You are correct.
And Piper walks through the background apparently on the phone with Daryl, despite the fact that the Shocker Demon has come through the phone before. So she's just on the phone.
But I think she was on a cell phone.
Which didn't really look like it.
I'm fairly certain she was on the flip phone. On the cell phone.
It didn't really look like it to me, but whatever. I'm not going to interrogate that.
Yeah.
Because Daryl is apparently talking far too fast. And Piper's like, no, slow down. Why are you calling us about a thing?
Yeah.
And then, of course, because we can't hear anything Daryl's saying because he's not in the episode, she's just like, oh, a carjacking
of a garbage
truck at Sword Point. We'll call you back, and immediately hangs up.
Yeah, we'll get back to you. Phoebe is, of course, worried that the police have found the prince. Piper assures her that they haven't, and then asks if the scrying is working.
But, of course, since he is neither a witch, nor a demon, nor anything else actually supernatural, it is not.
Piper starts to call for Leo, who orbs in before she finishes saying his name. Phoebe asks where Paige is, and he's all, well, she didn't want to come.
Yeah, Piper asks if he explained the situation. He's like, yes.
And she's like, and she still didn't want to come? Does she realize how much we need her?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, she knows. And then Phoebe says that she doesn't understand because they're sisters.
And Leo tells her that the reason they need her isn't because they're sisters, which confuses Piper, naturally. And so Leo's like, dude, I don't want to get in the middle of all this crap, but just wanting Paige to battle demons with you is not enough of her for a reason to move in.
Piper says it's the pressing reason, but Phoebe realizes that it's not a sisterly one, and she and Leo share a look.
Yeah.
Leo tells them that they need to find the prince before he exposes them, and tells them to read the Book of Shadows and get up to speed on Paige's fairy tale while he checks with the elders, and then he orbs out.
Yeah. We cut back to South Bay Social Services. We see Princey Pooh. Wait, what do they call him? Prince Carjack?
Yes.
I like that nickname.
Yeah.
Where Prince Carjack walks through the crowded, like, bullpen area and pushes a dude, just a random dude in a black shirt, out of the way. And I think we hear him thud to the floor.
Yeah.
We cut to the copy room where Paige seems to, like, kind of sense something is happening and walks to the window.
Yep. She, like, looks out the window, sees the prince, opens the door. The prince walks up to her. She asks how he found her. He says he followed her heart. And then she pulls him into the copy room and closes the door.
But does not close any of the blinds.
Nope.
Not a one.
Not even a little.
Nope. She tells him he has to leave before security comes. And he's like, I won't leave until you are with child. And she's like, dude, I always use protection. And also, you are a fairy tale.
Yeah. He reaches out to touch her cheek. She backs away. He says he won't harm her. And she's like, you just keep your sword sheathed.
And I'm like, both of them.
Yeah. And then she backs into the photocopier and accidentally turns it on. And by accidentally, I mean puts her hands behind her and pushes the button.
Yeah.
Because there's no way to accidentally do that.
Mm-hmm. Unless you're tall, like Jonathan Frakes. Which, you know, apparently in Star Trek land, they have eliminated butt dialing. Because he's always sitting on the panels.
Yep.
Always.
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 Yeah. You know, Star Trek has made me realize that people thought fashion was going to be very different in the future.
Well, we're all supposed to next year dress like Blade Runner, so
yeah,
let's do that, right?
Well, we've already passed Back to the Future.
Well, yeah, but we already technically we have hoverboards.
Yeah, no,
they don't hover.
No. Not so much.
And we also haven't had 54 Jaws movies.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Was it 54 or was it 24?
It doesn't matter.
I think it was 24.
Either way, thank goodness.
Yes. Anyway, when she turns on the copy machine, Shock Demon comes out of it.
Yep. Starts electrocuting Paige. She's standing straight up and just doing this, like, wiggle thing. The prince gets out his sword and slices at the demon. Paige falls to the floor looking like she fainted. And the Shocker Demon escapes through an electrical outlet. The prince puts his sword away and then helps Paige up, and we can see that what I thought were tall, shiny red boots are actually just tall, shiny red boot covers over pink heels. And I don't know why, but I loved that.
Yeah.
It actually kind of made me like the outfit a little more.
It is very Paige.
It is so Paige.
It's very much for the aesthetic and not for the purpose.
Yep.
Or function.
Yep.
Anyway, as he's helping her up, he's like, I have slain the beast. And Paige is like, oh yeah, boy, you did.
Yeah, you most certainly have.
And then Mr. Cohen bangs on the door. That says she's okay. Somehow, in just closing the door, it has now locked.
Yeah, he does an unconvincing job of not being able to get into the copy room.
And there's a couple of dudes in like brown police outfits that say, we're from security. In pretty much that tone.
Yep.
And they're all like ineffectually trying to get into the copy room.
Yep.
And
the prince tells Paige that he'll be by her side forever, making sure she knows that she's always protected, desired, and loved.
And she's kind of turned the corner on him, and she's like, aw, that's really sweet.
And then gets pulled back to reality as a security guy finally gets the copy room door open.
Mr. Cohen asks what's going on, who the guy is. Paige thinks very fast, and she's like, Renaissance Fair, we're trying to get some tickets for them orphans, right, bub? Okay. And she kind of like pats Prince Karjak's tunic and like grabs his hand and says, gotta go, and they walk off.
Yeah, and we end on a shot of Mr. Cohen looking very confused.
Yeah. And we cut back to the attic in the manor as Piper is lighting some candles while Phoebe is looking through the Book of Shadows.
Piper thinks that Paige would want to move into the manor, quote, considering the dump she lives in, unquote.
How very charitable of you, Piper.
Mm-hmm. And says that once the Shocker Demon attacks her, she might not be so resistant to the idea.
Phoebe reads from the page on the evil enchantress, saying that it really sounds like it's describing Paige.
Piper jokes that stubborn, and more stubborn also describes her.
And, like, when she turns around to go join Phoebe at the book, we see that she, like, put her hand on her hip with the lighter behind her, and the tip of the lighter was very close to her hair. So if she'd done the thing that I do, yeah, she clicked it on, she would have burned up her fucking head.
Yeah.
Because, like, clicking the lighter on and off just absentmindedly is kind of like clicking the tongs.
Yeah.
Like, you have to do it.
Yeah.
It's like just a compulsion.
Yeah.
Like, you have to make sure the tongs still work.
Yep. Anyway,
as Piper joins Phoebe, Phoebe's like, I think that Paige's fairy tale being the Book of Shadows and the prince showing up can't be a coincidence. I think this story might be a memory from Paige's, like, past life.
Right. Piper thinks that Phoebe is reaching a little. I don't understand why. But Phoebe reminds her of how her past self came back to bite her in the butt, so Paige's might be too.
I don't think Piper has had, like, an evil past life come up, has she?
No, but she was there with the whole...
Well, yeah, I know. We've seen a
Phoebe
past life
thing,
of hers,
so...
too. But, like, I feel like everyone gets a teenage episode where they have bangs.
Yeah.
We've yet to get to Paige's, but trust me, it's coming. Actually, we have yet to get to Phoebe's. I'm pretty sure that's later. Yeah.
Phoebe's was with the shoes and Grams.
The shoes and Grams.
I remember...
Oh, no, that wasn't teenage. She was adult. No, I'm talking teenage episode. We get a teenage episode with Phoebe where she has bangs and long straight hair. Trust me on this.
Okay.
We see it. I saw, like, a gift set of it last week, so...
Okay.
I remember that this is a thing that happens. Weirdly enough, Piper's yearbook photo does not have bangs.
Yeah.
But she has braces, which is the important thing. Yeah. You must give them either bangs or braces or both in the case of Prue.
Yes.
And Paige, actually. But yeah.
Anyway.
Everyone should get a evil past life episode, in my opinion.
Wow.
It's fun.
Piper reads from the book saying that Paige doesn't have the power to conjure the elements, so it can't be her, which, you know, again, I don't understand that logic because Phoebe can't do the whole fire thing, but her past life could, so...
Yeah, we've established in the mythology that if you are evil, whatever
you
powers you had when you are evil, you no longer have.
Exactly. Anyway, then, in that moment, a portal opens up in the attic, and Piper's all, this doesn't look good.
Nope.
And then the Enchantress walks out of the portal and blows Piper and Phoebe off their feet.
With gusty wind.
Yep. Piper yells at who she thinks is Paige.
Busty, gusty wind.
Busty, gusty. Piper yells at who she thinks is Paige. The Enchantress asks where the prince is. Phoebe asks if Piper still thinks she's reaching, and Piper, of course, can't believe her eyes.
The Enchantress then throws lightning at them. Some nice red lightning.
Yeah.
And it they get out of the way, and it hits this dollhouse, which then starts to just fucking burn.
I was so sad.
I was a little sad, but that dollhouse has never been super important to plot, so...
I know, but, like, I just love a good dollhouse. I love miniature things, and it makes me sad.
Everything tiny is cute. I've had this argument with my father on multiple occasions.
Yep.
Over, originally, a cheese cleaver. It looked like a meat
tiny
cleaver.
little meat cleavers.
But for cheese.
It's so cute.
I know, right?
Anyway, the Enchantress throws more lightning, which hits the wall, and then they run out of the attic. And she throws one more, which burns the wall in the hallway, and then she follows them.
It gets a sconce.
It does. Yeah, and it burns up the wall. And then we go to commercial break.
Yes.
We come back a little while later, as Phoebe is in the kitchen putting out a small fire with a fire extinguisher.
Piper runs in and puts out a fire that is conveniently just on one side of the back of a chair at that kitchen table.
Yeah.
And she's like, I got it.
Yeah. She puts down the fire extinguisher, saying that the living room is clear. Phoebe puts down her extinguisher and asks why the Enchantress left suddenly, wondering if trashing the house became boring.
Piper's like, she probably just realized we don't have the prints. She's been through the entire house, trashing it.
Yeah.
And
Piper is a little annoyed at having to deal with Paige's
Yeah.
past life, as well as having to deal with Paige.
Leo then orbs in, saying he's found out about the prints, and then notices the house, and he's like, what happened?
Phoebe says that Paige's past life almost killed them. Piper explains that the evil Enchantress has the same soul from a different lifetime, and that she came through a portal looking for the prince.
Leo says that they can't let her find him because if she conceives his heir, dark magic will rule his kingdom forever and history will be rewritten. Side note, without future interference, the past would have been screwed. That's not usually how this shit works.
Yeah.
Usually operate in the past, or if it's your present, the present, and then the future comes and tells you that you have to do a thing, otherwise you're fucked.
Right.
6 ways from Sunday.
Well, here's my thing. My issue. I should
Like,
say.
how was the Enchantress supposed to be defeated in the past? If the future had to happen for the past to get fixed. Like,
And that's
it's a
I
fucking
think,
paradox.
And that's exactly. That's my thing. Is I don't think it mattered if they went back in time or not.
No.
Because they're like the kingdom will be ruled by my evil forever. But it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're having a happy-go-lucky day.
Mm-hmm.
So either they always went back in time to fix this, to stop this from happening, which is possible.
That's the argument for predestination, though, which I don't like.
Or it never happened to begin with.
No, it had
And-
to have, because it was in the book.
But that doesn't mean anything. It's one of those where, like, they went back in time to fix a thing that didn't seem to have any consequences.
Yeah.
It's a little confusing.
Yes.
Anyway.
Just a skosh.
Yeah. Piper does the whole, we'll be screwed, world plunged into darkness, yada, yada, yada.
Phoebe
thing.
tells her she's not helping, and then asks Leo if vanquishing the Enchantress will risk Paige's life. And for some reason, Leo's like, probably.
There is a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, granted, they didn't actually vanquish past Phoebe. They just bound her powers.
Exactly, and that's what they decided that they're going to do with the Enchantress. So they won't vanquish her, they'll bind her powers and send her back. And then Piper's like, okay, we need to get some candles, we need to make a potion.
Mm-hmm.
We jump back to the copy room at South Bay Social Services.
All the lights are off. Well,
And-
all of the
Main lights.
office lights are off.
Yep. And the Enchantress picks up a necklace that was part of the prince's outfit.
Oh, thank you, Blue.
It's the one with the stone and the plus size cross.
Yeah, his necklace.
The plus style cross, not plus size.
Yeah, like the Roman cross or whatever.
She wonders what lured him to this time. And then Mr. Cohen comes in, asks Paige why she's still there. The Enchantress is like, what name did you use to
And
call
he's like,
me?
oh, are you in the fair too? Anyway, you need to lock up when you leave. And he kind of shakes his head, like laughing a little bit, walking off.
Yeah. And then he's like, I'll see you in the morning, hopefully on time.
And he leaves. I love that the Enchantress is just like, You're a peon. Why would I vanquish you? Like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, she does not.
She
She's
doesn't
like,
give
okay,
a
dude,
shit.
bye.
Like, she's not so evil that she has to kill everyone she sees.
Which is nice.
Which is nice. And this is just hilarious because how else was she going to know that she had a double?
Right.
So, like, she walks past this bulletin board that's full of photos, and we see, you know, some random photos of people, and they're all labeled with who they are.
Yeah.
Which I think
First
is
names.
interesting.
Yeah.
First names. And we see one of Paige with someone who is labeled Eilish.
And that is, in fact, the costume designer of the show.
Mm-hmm.
For most of the show.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool. Now, the Enchantress looks at this picture as like, I'm looking forward to meeting you, Paige. And here's my question, right? So, when they went back for Phoebe's past life thing, they said that the reason that they look like our main actresses
Mm-hmm.
is because they didn't actually look that way, but because their souls are the same, it makes you look at them that way. Which makes me wonder why, for Mr. Cohen, does he see her as looking like Paige?
I guess they forgot about that.
Uh-huh.
That little detail.
Because it was supposed to be just, it's your souls recognize their souls. And that's because of the whole magic thing.
Yeah.
But Cohen isn't magical.
This is a slightly more Doctor Who-y answer, because they had to explain why it was that the one of the main characters from Torchwood looked exactly like the lady from Cardiff with the ghosts.
Yeah.
And so they're like, I forget what term they used, but it was basically like a soul doppelganger thing.
Yeah. It's like, you know, you have family for long enough, eventually someone's going to look the same.
Yeah.
It's the same reason, like, the woman who eventually went to be Martha, she played somebody else in Torchwood, and it was supposedly her cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, you know, it's...
They'll find fun ways. They haven't, I don't think they ever really, well, I mean, there were, like, fan headcanons about why the one dude from Pompeii became the Doctor, but it was never actually explained.
Well, I think it was kind of explained in that the Doctor can take on a face that means something to him.
Well, yes, but that was more a fan headcanon than actually, like, explained in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Because he never, like, really wonders about it. He, like, just talks about his eyebrows. And, like, being Scottish.
Attack eyebrows.
Yes, attack eyebrows.
The best thing ever. Attack eyebrows.
Uh-huh.
Anyway,
we cut over to Paige's apartment, where Paige is sitting on the couch, which is in front of the window, kind of staring out at the sky, and the prince comes to join her.
She is still in disbelief that he's real, and says that she always wanted to save him from the evil enchantress so he could live happily ever after.
He's like, come live with me, and I will. And she's like, what's with everyone wanting me to move in with them?
Yeah. He tells her that he can give her riches and take her away, and she says that she knows it's just a spell. He's all like, true love is just like being under someone's spell, and then tells her that he'd give her whatever she wants. All she has to do is ask.
And she immediately says, can you make me as good as Prue was? And he's just like, what?
Yeah. She's like, never mind. Yeah, I don't know. I know you don't understand what that means or how to do that. Don't worry about it. You know. And then he goes to, like, lean in and kiss her. And just then, Leah orbs in with Piper and Phoebe, and Piper immediately freezes the prince. Paige gasps and stands up quickly. And she's like, this barging in is getting ridiculous.
And Piper's like, oh, I thought he was gonna attack you. And she's like, Paige is like, it's called kissing.
Yeah. It was the best.
And then asks why they're there, because she said she'd call if she needed them.
Leo tells her that the evil enchantress is in their world and that she nearly killed them trying to get to the prince.
Paige sits down on another chair that somehow is in front of the couch.
Yeah.
She's trying not to freak out, and we can see the prince in the background.
Trying very hard to stay frozen, but he's, like, swaying just a little bit. It made me laugh.
Oh, you know what I learned?
What?
In the reboot, they hire people with mime training to do practical freezes because they're really fucking good at it.
Nice.
And I was just like, that's a super nice touch. By the way, I knew someone who was trained by someone who was trained by Marcel Marceau.
Well, there you go.
Yes. Like a grand student of Marcel Marceau.
Nice.
Piper says, oh, that's not the worst part. The worst part is that we now know why the spell works on you and not just with her. It's because, and then she and Phoebe, like, try to put it into words, but they're really bad at it. And so Piper just grabs Leo and, like, pulls him forward between them.
Leo says that she was the enchantress in a past life, so when she read the spell from the book, the prince was brought to her.
Piper says that the reason she remembers the fairy tale so well is because she actually lived it.
Paige seems to take that pretty well, realizing that's why she's related to the enchantress the most, and then wonders if that means she's evil.
At the same time, Piper and Phoebe both answer yes and no, respectively.
Yeah.
And then Piper immediately changes her answer.
It was the best.
Mm-hmm. It was hilarious. Yeah, Phoebe says, "Oh, your past self was evil, but you've grown and evolved. As you should know." Yeah, I should know. Like, we had that whole thing about how the reincarnation dude who didn't want to reincarnate was going to be like, yeah, I'll be a nice dung beetle. I'm like, well, clearly you've grown out of being a dung beetle, so that's good.
Yep. Piper tells Paige that the plan is to bind the enchantress's powers with a potion, and she, Phoebe, and Leo all hold up little bottles with purple liquid in it.
The classic little purple bottles.
Yep. Paige stands up, grabs Piper's bottle, and says, "I'll do it."
Yeah. Piper starts to say what they'll do, but Paige cuts her off, and she's like, no, I'll do it alone. I'm the one who put them into danger. I'll get you out of it.
Yeah. Leo reminds her that she doesn't know how to find the enchantress, and Paige is like, well, I know the enchantress is after the prince, so I'll just backtrack and surprise her.
Phoebe tells Paige, oh, you don't have to do it alone. You've got sisters now.
And then
Piper's
Piper...
like, if you want to do it alone, you should.
Yeah. Paige says she does. Piper's like, we'll just wait here with the prince, and Paige leaves. And Phoebe asks Piper why she let her go, and Piper's like, well, we need to realize that we can't make Paige do something she doesn't want to do.
It was very obviously ADR'd.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what was wrong with the audio in that, because it wasn't like she was saying different words or anything. Yeah. They were inside. Like, I know they ADR outside a lot. I
don't know.
Something happened. Maybe someone made a large noise and no one realized it until later.
Could be.
We end on a quick shot of the prince still frozen on the couch. I thought it would have been funny if, like, someone had just sat next to him and just waited. Just, like, facing forward. Not facing him. Just, like, facing forward. And then he comes out of it and, like, his lips bump into the side of their head. That just strikes me as funny.
Yeah. It didn't happen, though. Kind of sad.
Yeah.
We cut to the street as Paige gets into her car. Just as she goes to buckle up, she sees the enchantress walking down the street towards her. Because, of course.
She starts the car and tries to drive towards her, which is how you know that everyone on the street is really bad at parallel parking, because they're so far away that she can just very slightly turn the wheel and be headed towards the enchantress.
Yep. The enchantress, however, uses her power of wind to keep the car in place.
The tires spin until they pop.
Yeah.
Or at least one of the tires does.
Yeah.
And Paige gets out. The enchantress is like, oh, don't tell me I become good in the future.
Paige is like, yeah, you have. And she goes to throw the potion at her, but the enchantress zaps it with the lightning power, and it explodes midair.
The enchantress is like, I was looking forward to meeting myself.
And then she uses the wind to blow Paige onto the car behind hers, because you can't ruin that main car.
Not this season.
Nope. So she smashes the windscreen and is knocked unconscious on the dusty, like, sedan behind the bug.
Dusty ass, outdated sedan. We cut back to Paige's apartment as we hear chimes.
Piper looks at Leo and asks what's wrong. He says that Paige is in trouble, and so she smacks him on the chest and is like, go, 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 go.
He orbs out, and we see Phoebe sitting on the couch next to the still frozen prince.
Yep. The enchantress then barges through the door with a "Remember me," and Phoebe immediately is on her feet and next to Piper. So, here's my question. How did she get up there so damn fast?
Power walk?
Because, like...
she's got a good murder walk. Like, the whole Charlize Theron thing saying, oh, you want, like, to be intimidating? You know, you just... tighten up your core, think murder, and then walk.
Yep.
And she's doing that.
Apparently.
Yep.
Yep. She's got
Apparently
up there
all of the stairs just got out of the way.
Yeah. We cut to the street as Leo orbs in and heals Paige, who wakes up. Leo asks her what happened, and she says that the evil enchantress happened. And then they see bright lights happening in the windows of what is supposedly Paige's apartment, and Leo helps her off the car.
We then cut back to Paige's apartment as Piper and Phoebe dive over the bed in order to escape a bolt of lightning.
Things are on fire. The enchantress...
A lot of things are on fire.
Yeah, like...
But very controlled fire.
Yeah. The enchantress gets the prince to follow her as the portal opens in the room, because apparently she must have said the spell again or something?
Well, no. Paige isn't there, so she's there. No, it's
I don't know.
It works on both of them at the same time.
I don't know.
It does.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
Because Paige didn't have to throw the potion or anything. She just said the spell, and he comes and, hey, look.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, the prince walks through the portal. The enchantress sends a gust of wind toward Piper and Phoebe, keeping them behind the bed, and then she walks through the portal.
Phoebe's like, we can't just let them get away. And Piper's like, what are we going to do? Are we going to go back to the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, the whatever the hell ages?
Yeah.
And Phoebe's like, oh, no, we need to, or we risk good magic being gone forever. And they all run towards the portal.
Piper jumps through the portal just as Leo and Paige walk in, and then Phoebe jumps through the portal right before it closes, and Paige is all like, what have I done? And we go to commercial break.
Yeah.
We come back to Paige's apartment a few moments after we left. Leo is looking at the wall where the portal opened.
Okay, so there's like a huge black stain on the wall behind this Vogue calendar.
Yeah.
And like, it kind of looked like he just put out a fire there and was putting the calendar there to cover up the wall a little bit.
Yeah.
Which was really funny to me.
Yeah.
But all of the fires have been put out at this point, and we see some scorch marks, and there's shit broken everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
It's
a big ol' mess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Paige is freaking out about Piper and Phoebe being crazy to trust her. Leo tells her that she's got to stop losing it, reminding her that they need to get the girls back.
Paige says they can't just hop on a bus to medieval times.
Which makes me really want to go to medieval times dinner and tournament.
Yeah, they don't have very good food, though.
I love the food.
I mean, like, the quail's nice, but everything else is just, you know.
They had the best rib. They don't have the rib anymore. It's been replaced by corn.
Meh.
I don't know.
That's not a good substitute.
No, it really isn't. But they've apparently changed the show as of October 2017, and there's now a queen instead of a king.
Yay!
And my birthday's on a Saturday this year, so I might just go.
Yeah.
Just saying. Something to think about.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, Leo tells Paige to concentrate, reminds her she's a powerful witch.
Paige, of course, can't see the forest for the trees.
My 8th grade science teacher once told me that. We were doing a project about moose.
Leo tells her that she's got power inside her. She just needs to tap into it.
And she sighs, realizing it's her fairy tale. All she needs to do is rework the spell to bring her to the prince instead of bringing him back to her. So Leo's like a little concerned about this, but she thinks it's worth the shot and almost instantly has a reworded spell. She is much better at this than Phoebe claims to be.
Yeah. The reworded spell is, bring together my prince and me, his kingdom now I wish to see, crossing history to his side, from myself I will not hide. Which, you know, pretty darn good.
Pretty darn good. The last line is a bit of a non sequitur, but it works, and it rhymes, so who cares?
Yeah.
Anyway, the portal opens up right
Much
on top
to her
of that
surprise.
right on top of that Vogue calendar.
Yep.
And she runs into it.
Leo walks over, just kind of looking at it tentatively. She pops her head back out, says she's not doing this alone, grabs Leo by his shirt, and then pulls him into the portal with her, and it closes behind them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we get the shot from the cover of the book again, sort of like there was some dude pulling a cart. He's not there now, but the dude by the torch is still there. And then to Piper and Phoebe, who are chained to a wooden wall.
Yep. They're having a bit of an argument over the words they said to Paige. Phoebe is lamenting that their powers don't work, and LJ, who is still locked behind the portcullis, is confused by who they are and where they came from.
Phoebe says they're from Disneyland Future World.
But Piper says that they're witches and they have the potion that will stop the enchantress. Phoebe is even more annoyed than before that they're chained to the wall, and LJ just kind of stares off into space. Because Phoebe's like, yeah, it's great, we have this potion. Too bad we're chained to a wall.
And I'm like, neither of y'all have pockets right now.
Yeah.
So, where is this potion?
Don't know. A la convenience. What can you do?
Yep.
Cut to the Enchantress's bedroom.
The prince is lying on the bed and he has everything removed except for some like linen under trousers.
Yeah, it's mostly period appropriate underwear.
Like it might have had like a stretchy waistband, but they just rolled it over a couple of times and you can't see it anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's not tied with anything.
No.
There's no leather jerkin.
No. But yeah, it is a much more period appropriate outfit than anything else.
Yeah, the Enchantress is back in her white nightgown, and she's added like a nice sheer lacy like overcoat, like house coat to it.
Yeah, which she then takes off
which
immediately.
has these lovely detailed sleeves.
Yeah.
Yeah, she like approaches the bed and it slides down.
Yep.
And then Paige and Leo peek around the corner nearby, and Paige is like, "Hey, you go find Phoebe and Piper. I'll distract the Enchantress."
Leo reminds her that her powers don't work in the past, but Paige says that she should be able to tap into the Enchantress's powers.
Which actually kind of, you know, as a logic process, that tracks for me.
I just want to know how she, assumes that will work. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because when Phoebe went back, she wasn't tapping into the power. She was in the body that had the power.
Mm-hmm. But, the reason that Piper and Phoebe's powers don't work is because they're before Melinda Warren was there. And when they were in the time with Melinda Warren, their powers didn't exist yet. Because Melinda Warren didn't exist until the end of the episode.
Right.
So it tracks that they wouldn't be able to use their powers because their powers don't exist in the world. But Paige's, at this point, do. Or at least the elemental powers.
Yeah.
She doesn't have power 3, but she does have elemental shit.
Right.
So yeah, that logic completely flies with me.
All right. She tells him to hurry and get her sisters, and he walks off as the Enchantress climbs into bed with the prince and they go to kiss.
We cut back to Piper and Phoebe as Leo comes around the corner, and they're all super happy to see each other. Leo runs over and tries to unlock the locks, but then a guard comes in and pulls him away, and this guard has a nice knitted metallic yarn cowl that's meant to look like chainmail.
Yep.
It's very fun.
Phoebe tries to warn Leo, but the guard pushes him away. He pulls out his sword. Leo grabs the sword off of the wall, and a sword fight ensues.
And it's actually a pretty good sword fight, except for the one bit where they just found a double so that Leo could do a flip.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But there was the first thing he does with the sword is he kind of taps the guard sword away from his legs and does a weird jump to the side as he's doing that. It was kind of hilarious and I loved it, and it was very, very Brian Krause.
Yep. The guard trips Leo, and we cut back to the bedroom as Paige walks in and says hi.
The Enchantress stands up and she's like, "How the fuck did you get here?" And Paige is like, "I'm charmed."
The Enchantress replies, "Not for long." And then Paige and the Enchantress try to zap each other. The Enchantress has red energy, while Paige has blue energy.
Sith fight!
Yep. Cutting back to the other room where Leo is still fighting with the guard. Leo gets hit a few times, but then he's able to block the guard's attack and headbutt him, knocking the guard out.
Which knocks him off of this ledge by the window and onto the floor. And you see Lady Julia staring out from the portcullis clearly
impressed.
Moderately impressed.
Yeah. And Piper and Phoebe also look impressed as Leo runs back over to them. And Phoebe says that she thought he was a pacifist, and he's like, "Well, I didn't kill him, did I?"
Yeah. Leo unlocks their chains, and Piper's like, I'm finding this new tech very sexy.
Yeah. Phoebe says that he's been holding out on them, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then Piper and Leo start to have a little flirty moment where they're like, hi, that sort of cutesy
and Leo's
thing.
back to being a complete dork.
Yep. And then they hear a zap coming from the bedroom.
Which, how fucking close
Don't
to the
know.
prince's... Why did they allow the Enchantress to live so close to the prince?
Yeah.
What the goddamn fuck?
Yeah. Phoebe asks what the sound was. Piper realizes that it's Paige and that they have the potion, so they need to get over there.
Back in the bedroom, the Enchantress is throwing red lightning at Paige, but it's hitting the walls, and Paige is not doing her lightning block anymore.
Yep.
The prince gets off of the bed and like tells the Enchantress not to hurt her, but she just like blows him back with some wind.
And then Piper, Phoebe, and Leo walk in. Paige yells at them to throw the potion, and then she uses wind to blow the Enchantress off her feet.
And she like knocks her into a far wall, and they throw the potion just as the Enchantress is like kind of trying to get up off of the floor. And it's very interesting to note that the bottles are clear glass with purple liquid in it.
Yep.
When they throw it, we see purple glass. Purple, like sugar candy glass, smashing on the floor.
Yep.
And no liquid.
Yep.
Now, sometimes they do have liquid come out of these bottles.
Yep.
But it's usually when they're just, like, throwing them straight down in, like, the middle of a room, no near people. It's still not actual glass, I'm sure. It's just, like, sugar. But it's still interesting that this is just purple sugar now.
Yep.
And we get some sparklies and a little bit of, like, smoky shit happening.
The Enchantress tries to use her powers, but nothing happens.
Yeah.
And this is when she asks, "What have you done?"
And sounds exactly like Paige.
Yeah. Leo says they've bound her powers. Piper and Phoebe tell her that there's no more kingdom for her.
No, they say no more kingdom come for her. And I'm like, especially not the princes.
And then Piper's all like, "Not for you," which I thought was great too.
No soup for you.
Yeah.
But no, what an unexpected pun. Kingdom come.
Yeah.
Because this was all about her getting prego anyway.
Yeah.
I had
going to sidestep that one.
I had a good laugh moment about that.
Yeah. The Enchantress asks Paige how she can do this to her, and Paige motions to her sisters saying that we did it. And then LJ runs in and helps the prince get up, and I'm not sure when they let her out.
Well, okay, so I'm thinking it probably has to do with the fact that portcullis was likely summoned and not, like, telekinetically lowered. Like, fucker summoned it to exist in this room, which is why it covers such a wide swath, and which is why it doesn't have a door, because it's not something that was designed to be in there, because you don't fucking design a jail that's just a giant goddamn portcullis, because where do you store that shit? You don't. Yeah. So it's a magic fucking portcullis, and once they bound her powers, A, the love spell gone, B, all other spells gone, so portcullis gone.
Sure. I'll allow it.
Yeah. There is a easy, workable answer in universe. This is not all a convenience, is my opinion.
All right.
Anyway.
LJ and the prince kiss. Piper looks away. The Enchantress frowns and looks away.
No. She pouts and looks down.
Yeah, she does kind of pout, doesn't she?
I don't know why they directed Rose to just look pouty for this, but it's hilarious.
Yeah. The prince tells Lady Julia that he is well, and he calls her my love.
Mm-hmm. Phoebe's like, "Oh, the kiss of true love broke the spell."
Paige is like, "It happens in every fairy tale."
She kind of like joyfully rolls her eyes about this.
Yeah. Piper looks at Paige, calls her a super witch, and tells her to get them out of there. And then they walk out of the bedroom,
leaving the Enchantress right there, being extremely pouty.
Yep.
Like, it's not a good pout either. It's just like,
Yeah. It's what in my family we would call the pagel lip. It's a very large pout.
Well, she's trying to be subtle with the lip, but it is extremely pouty.
Anyway,
we cut to Paige's apartment. The portal opens. They all step out of it. And Paige is like, "Well, I'm not getting my security deposit back."
Yeah, because she notices the mess. Piper jokes about her not having anywhere else to stay.
And then Phoebe covers it, and she's like, no pressure, sweetie.
Piper jokes about not needing electricity, and then Paige asks if she'd have to stay in the basement. Piper and Phoebe laugh, and Piper's like, "No, we have a room for you."
Yeah.
We get a nighttime establishing shot, then a daytime establishing shot, where we get to see the Triangle Building twice before we land back at the manor.
We're in Prue's former room, now Paige's room, and we hear a knock on the door, and Paige goes to open the door as Piper and Phoebe walk in.
And so now all three girls are in Prue's old room, which used to be Piper's old room. and it's now Paige's room. Paige is wearing a pair of jeans where the back pockets are darker denim than the rest of the jeans, with a white belt and a low-cut red shirt that rides up just enough to show a little skin.
And it's got those, like, puffy, like, cap ruched sleeve thingies.
Yeah, a little bit. Her hair is down, but she's wearing what looks to be a butter yellow newsboy hat that's slightly too big for her head.
Yeah, it's not quite a newsboy hat exactly. Like, I don't know what the term...
It's in the style of a newsboy hat.
Yeah, but like a newsboy crossed with a winter beret.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's not completely round. It's a little like pillowy.
Mm-hmm. It's a little like
some
squishy.
Some like, not, it's not ruffles or grooves. It's like somewhere in between the two.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Phoebe is in a red, white, and blue corset top.
With stars.
Yeah, it's got a red stripe down the middle with a white stripe on either side, and the side panels are blue with white stars. She has paired that with a pair of dark pink pants, and her hair is down and straight. So this is, again, another little nod to the whole September 11th thing.
Yeah.
Piper is an outfit that slightly confuses me just because of what's on it.
Yeah, it's much more casual than
It's
her
super
usual.
duper cash. So Piper has her hair down and straight, and she is in a set, it's a very casual black pants and a white t-shirt with a graphic print on it. And the print looks like it's a fan shirt for Travis Pastrana with the words Pastrana 199 and a motocross bike, a couple of different shots of a guy on a motocross bike on it. But it wasn't anything that I've actually seen in print. And the font actually looks like it says Pastrapta.
Yeah, I had trouble
It looked like a
reading it.
PD instead of an N.
I know. I actually couldn't read it.
I took a picture and I looked at it, and the reason that I was confused by it is because Pastrana 199 was a monster truck, and there was Pastrana 199 Racing, but they didn't exist until long after this episode aired. I'm talking years. 2009 for the monster truck and 2011 for the racing company.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah. But Travis Pastrana was a motocross racer at the time.
Did he have like a number 199 at some point?
I don't remember.
I wouldn't know.
That's
I
my
was
issue.
never into motocross, even when that one Disney Channel movie came out.
But I was a huge fan of Travis Pastrana, and like legit so this just shows that like sometimes I put things into my notes and then I realize that nobody would care except me, and so I just delete them again. But I legit could tell you way too much about Travis Pastrana in the first few years of the X Games.
I bet.
Because he got gold in the first ever freestyle motocross, and then he got it again the next year, and then the next year he didn't compete, I think, because he had some sort of injury thing, and then he came like it's one of those where like I followed his career for a very long time. And like he was the first person to ever try and do a backflip on a motocross bike.
Shit.
He was the first person to do a double backflip on a motocross bike.
Shit.
Yeah, like I'm gonna link to Travis Pastrana because it's just amazing. Like it's so interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was a huge fan of the X Games, and I think I stopped watching the X Games somewhere around like maybe 2006. I think was when I finally like stopped watching. But
Well, yeah, because they really had a moment in the early aughts.
yeah,
Like, there were several. There was at least one Disney Channel movie involving the X Games that was live action.
yeah.
That involved the same guy from the one Lifetime movie where he died and then told his girlfriend in a video that he had AIDS.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Rough subject, I know. I just can't remember his name.
I don't know. I just know like
He was a dude who played like the dumb blonde guy a lot.
Okay. My biggest
And then there
thing,
was the one Goofy movie, wasn't there?
I don't know. My biggest thing with the X Games is that like I absolutely followed the X Games because I was a huge fan of Tony Hawk, and then Travis Pastrana, and like Bob Burnquist, and like a whole bunch of them.
I'm a huge fan of Tony Hawk now on Twitter, because it's a lot about how people don't recognize him, and they're like, "Oh, you have the same name as that skater dude."
Yeah,
which is exactly how Harry Potter would be.
Oh, yeah.
Now, where everyone's like, "Oh, Harry Potter, like that one dude." Like, "Oh yeah, you kind of look like him."
Yeah.
Just never connecting the dots.
Yep. The best part that came out of the X Games, like the normal, like summer X Games, was we got the winter X Games, and that's where everybody learned about Shaun White.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. He came out of the winter X Games as like this huge, just, powerhouse. And that's when I kind of like stopped watching the normal X Games, because I'm like, well, now hello, you're a redhead and you're gorgeous. Like, I have to watch you now.
Mm-hmm. You have a type.
I do. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Thankfully, it's redheaded men.
Well, I mean, it's redheads in general, but
I'm so glad I'm not your type.
It's fun. Like,
that would make things very awkward between us.
You're my type as a personality.
Okay.
But
it would never work between us.
No. It's really funny because, like, I don't have a romantic attraction to you.
Mm-hmm.
I have an aesthetic attraction to you. I find you're very cute. But
I strive to always be cute.
Yeah. Anyway,
the room that Paige is now in is completely different.
Except for the wallpaper.
There's paintings on easels hanging out towards, like, the windows. So we can assume that Paige paints, and I think we did see a few of these at her apartment.
Yeah, but it's like now like overkill with how many there are.
Yeah, it's very, very different. And
she has an entire apartment full of stuff in a single bedroom now.
Which, granted, she had a studio, so
right. So it's not like
it was it was a Hollywood studio.
It was a large apartment.
Anyway, Piper and Phoebe are just like clearly very odd in mostly a neutral way, but they're like, "Oh, this will be an adjustment."
Yeah,
and they're like, "Oh, it's very, very you."
Yeah, that's a good thing, And Paige is like, says something about the living room needing a spice up,
and Piper's like, "Don't push it."
Yeah. We then hear a very loud knock, which we are supposed to assume is coming from the front door.
Phoebe jokes that it better not be another past life, and Paige is like, "Oh, it's just Glenn." And then Phoebe calls him yummy.
Yeah. Paige says that he's going to have to be yummy in Australia. And
with those shoulder freckles.
And tells them that he asked her to go with him, but she turned him down. And while she might be a little disappointed, she won't be lacking for adventure.
And then she walks over to the light switch, asks if they're ready, and turns on the light. And we see in the far corner by the windows, this one double sconce light up, and Shocker Demon comes out. What a shocker.
Yeah. The girls hold hands and recite the spell, "Vanquish we three witches cry, one final shock, and then you die."
And the thing about this is, they're all saying it at a completely different pace.
Yep.
Like, Rose is trying to rush through it a little bit. Holly and Alyssa are mostly on the same page. They're just not quite in sync. Which honestly works out, like, symbolically for the three of them. It makes sense. But they have actually read spells together, like, perfectly in sync before, so I don't know why this one is just a little off.
Don't know.
Maybe they are just like, that works, you all said it, and we don't have time.
Yeah. The Shocker Demon is vanquished in a burst, and it was a little bit of an anticlimax, if I'm being honest. Paige says she's got to go, reminds them to knock.
Wait, hang on. You mean it was a little static?
Oh. Yes.
Thank you for your microphone-appropriate claps.
Yes. Paige says she's got to go, reminds them to knock if they need her, and then leaves, leaving them in her bedroom.
Well, at the door.
I just think it's funny.
She trusts them to get the fuck out.
Yep.
And shut the front door. Piper then says, "And they all lived happily ever after."
Phoebe puts her arm around Piper, replying, "Yeah, right." And they walk out.
And they're like holding hands behind Phoebe's back, which is really cute. And they kind of had matching bracelets a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
They had bracelets that looked very similar.
Yep.
And they all walk out, and we go to the end credits.
Yes. Now, a quick fun fact before we, go to the end completely. According to the Wikia, of which I have no other assurance that this is true, but according to the Wikia, the original idea for this episode was to get Jesse Woodrow to also portray the prince. So it would have been Glenn's past life as the prince. However, Jesse was like, no, I'm fine just playing Glenn, thanks.
That's funny because people usually balk at the extremely corny medieval shit and they're like, can we do something serious? But no, he's like, no, I'm in this fully for the fun.
Yeah.
Also, they kind of did that when they went back to see Melinda Warren and then Prue came back and she saw a hot dude that got hanged.
Yeah. So I'm kind of glad that they didn't do it again.
Yeah.
And also the fact that,
well, also,
you don't need everybody that you do having to have a soulmate all of a sudden from,
it's
1,000 years ago.
It's a little tired.
Just a titch.
It was tired then. It's exhausted now.
Yeah.
Its organs are going into shutdown now because it has had that little sleep.
Yeah. Anyway, so with the episode done, that means we are on to our ratings. Do you have a clue as to what you would like as yours?
I think I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10 pouty past lives.
Nice. I went for 8 out of 10 historical inaccuracies, though I almost went with fairy tales with fairy spelled with a PH because I thought it was funny, but it's a visual joke, so it didn't really work. But yeah.
Yeah. That would be kind of basic.
A little bit.
For that PH.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
And then we have to do our favorite outfits.
Indeed, on to outfits.
It's no surprise. My favorite outfit, Enchantress's green dress. Because I want it. Do you have any idea how awesome that would fucking look on me?
It would look really good on
the red hair, the green dress.
Yep.
The pale skin.
Yep.
I would look so fucking hot.
Yep. For me, I wonder if the Enchantress's white nightgown counts, because
that counts. That's not.
I kind of like that one as well.
Would you want it with the lacy overcoat? Because I think that works pretty fucking well.
Yeah.
Like a little warmth, but also a little class.
Yeah, I just for Paige herself, I just cannot handle the pink ruffled top outfit.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thing. And
I did like her. I did like her final outfit.
Her final outfit wasn't bad, but
she had the cute heels with the bell-bottomed jeans or boot cut, I guess, because they weren't really bell-bottomed, but they flared out.
If I only had to choose between those two, the final outfit would have been the one.
Mm-hmm.
For Phoebe, I really do love a corset, so I'm going with that final outfit, even though it's flag themed.
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed that the 9/11 nods were so subtle.
Yeah.
That
it wasn't bashing you over the head with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and also it ages well.
Yeah.
If you didn't know when this episode came out, it wouldn't have really registered.
Right.
It would just been oh, that's an interesting outfit, kind of stars and stripesy, and you easily could miss the God Bless America mug.
Yeah. It wasn't thrown in your face, which was quite nice.
Yeah, the casual observer would not notice.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what you want from a nod.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, the reboot thing where they ended up in parking level P3, that's a good nod. We're watching very closely, so we, of course, notice that and, roll our eyes. But, what was it, 2-3 episodes ago, we had the thing where they had the spot. Or was that last episode? It was 1 or 2 episodes ago. I forget.
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago.
And he mentions offhand that P3 everyone thinks is a parking level. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah. So they literally made it a parking level in the reboot. Because that's fucking funny.
It was a basement level in the reboot.
It was a basement. Well, yeah. It might have originally been a parking level. I don't know. But honestly, that's a fucking funny nod. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We roll our eyes. But it was good.
It was. I do think, though, that the denim jacket that she was wearing, that Phoebe was wearing, was so 2001. So very much. And I didn't mind her outfit once she took off the jacket. Mm-hmm. But I love a good corset.
Yeah.
And for Piper, I liked the all-black outfit with the leather jacket.
Yeah.
Because it was the leather jacket that made that outfit work.
Uh-huh.
It was quite nice.
So now we are on to our social media times.
Yes.
As always, you can email us with any questions, comments, concerns. Hopefully not too many of that last one. At charmchats@gmail.com.
And you can find all of our episodes and all of the links that we, for all the things that we mentioned, as well as links to our Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, and Patreon over at charmchats.com.
And if you're especially liking what we do over here and you want to hear our thoughts on the reboot, you can head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/charmchats and subscribe and throw us a little monetary bone. And then you'll get to hear what we think of the new show.
Yep. That is a Patreon exclusive, and it will be for
the foreseeable future.
For the foreseeable future.
I think eventually, definitely once we close out all of the original series, we will then fully publish the...
Correct.
Because one of the main reasons we're not doing it now is that, our Libsyn only allows us to have a certain amount. We technically could, double up and still be under, but, that's a decision we're not making at this point. So, maybe later, but not currently.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And, gotta give something to the Patreon people.
Mm-hmm.
Because, without the Patreon people, we would not be able to continue doing this.
This is very true.
They are amazing, and we love you all.
Yeah. Publishing costs money.
It really does.
Which makes me think that one person who has been paying money to publish podcast versions of Cabin Pressure just on their own, that's a hero right there. Because they are giving their own money so that it's free, which, yeah, sure, is taking money from the creators, but I don't think the creator cares much.
Yeah.
Because... likely he's probably found and he's just yeah, sure.
Yeah. Anyway, we also have the Discord, which of course,
which you would get access to as a Patreon patron.
Yep.
And we chat a little bit about there, not just about this show, but about other shit.
Yes, and we will actually
and every day Kat reminds me to take my dailies.
Darn tootin'. We will probably at a specific time, which will be mentioned at a later date, we will be opening the Discord to non-Patreon people. Mm-hmm. So we will be opening the Discord to our listeners. And then if you are a patron, you will have access to additional channels in said server. But I think that's everything.
I think that is also everything.
Yeah. So until next time.
Sleep tight. Don't let the warlocks bite.
Bye.
Bye-bye.